without wasting so much time, today we have 5 speakers for you. Yeah, it's that packed, right? So you're going to ensure that you get the most out of it. I always believe that if you are giving your time to something, right, you should actively participate in whatever you are giving your time to. I value my time. So whenever I'm doing something, I ensure that I get the most out of it. So get your pens, get your paper, because some of us here now actually wished we had this kind of information while we were still in school. What separates your peers that you think have made it in life and some that you think have not probably progressed or moved forward is the kind of information that they have. So today we are bringing information to you. Utilizing it will definitely be within your power, but you will have information definitely from us. So today we have 5 speakers. Um, we have speaker for physiotherapy. We have a speaker for also physiotherapy. So 2 speakers for physiotherapy, 1 speaker talking about doctors, another speaker talking about nursing pathways to the US, another one talking about nursing pathways to the UK. So if you know someone who are in these departments and you think would benefit from it, please share the link to them. They don't have to have graduated. They can be in 200, 300, no, let's just say 300, 400, or final year, or they just finished service, or they've been working for a while now, they will still need the information. So we are going to call on our very first speaker. Is no other than Mr. Adesokan Oluwatobi. Mr. Adesokan Oluwatobi, can you say hi? Let's be sure you're on the call.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me.
Hello. Loud and clear, very sharp
Yeah.
and direct. Good
Yeah.
to have you on the call, Mr. Adesokan Oluwatobi. So,
So,
Mr. Adesokan Oluwatobi is, wow, your portfolio is very massive.
is it?
I say your portfolio is very massive. I'm looking
I
at it, I'm
said,
like,
is it? I'm not sure it is.
it is, oh, you have a
Mhm.
PhD. That's massive. It takes a lot of grit to get there,
Mhm.
right? He's the MD, Metan Physiotherapy and Wellness Clinic in Nigeria and the UK, first contact physiotherapist specialist, MSK physiotherapist, public health expert, educator, and researcher. So I'm sure he will give a broader light on it because I'm seeing first contact physiotherapist and MSK physiotherapist. Thank you for being here. It's indeed a pleasure to have you. So I hand over this virtual mic to you, and the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Osafandaisi. I can't pronounce the last one.
You tried.
I can't pronounce it, so I don't murder your name.
You tried. It's like,
All right, good
well done.
evening, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, depends on where you are joining from. So, like she said, I won't waste your time talking about myself. We are here to talk more about how to help one another, to create a better life after school. What next? What can we do? At times, some people will not even they won't succeed or they will not go through the path of their certificate to make it in life. So my name is Adeshokun Oluwatobi. I'm a specialist physiotherapist and also a first contact physiotherapist. And like she already said it, I'm also a public health expert and a researcher, you know. So, and by God's grace, I'm just one of the group member of mental physiotherapy. So we have a clinic in Nigeria, in Abuja, Lagos, and Ibadan. And by God's grace, we have one for now in the UK. And hopefully, very soon we'll be expanding So I also work, like I said, as a first contact. When you hear first contact physiotherapist, is more like a primary care physiotherapist, more like people you go to first and will send to other physio, maybe MSK we triage and say, okay, this is the people that will treat you, these are the people that will take your treatment further. It's more just like an advanced physiotherapy practitioner. And also, I'm also, like they said, I'm also an MSK physiotherapist. So just let's leave that about myself and let's go straight up to the point of, the main topic of today, which is what next after school. And what they have given me is to talk about the different pathway we have to moving to the UK, Canada, and US. I don't know how many participants we have now. I think we have like 36 participants. I'm sure if we take a sample, like how many people wants to go to UK after study, we may have like 10%. And if we see how many people want to go to Canada or US, that's where you see people with 50%, 60%, 70%. I'm not sure if I'm right with that, but because there's no evidence, no research paper to support that. But I think that's what most people say if you interact with them. So I will briefly talk about Canada, US, then I'll talk more about the UK. Why I said so is that a lot of people, yes, where you want to go is Canada, is this, is that. But what we don't realize is at times to get to somewhere, you have to start from, you have to weigh your options and look for the easiest way to move. Then from there, you go to the other part. So if I'm starting with US, if you want to practice as a physiotherapist in the United States, you don't practice with your first degree in Nigeria, maybe just the BSc. You you only practice the entry level for physiotherapy is DPT, which is Doctor of Physiotherapy. And good thing is that we already started Doctor of Physiotherapy program in Nigeria, which is a plus for that. At least when we finish, you'll be able to evaluate your credential and they'll be able to match it up if it match with the requirement in the US. And after you have your credentialing, you have to write exam. You have to write before you get your license, the credentialing, you have to submit your transcript or with the certificate for the, I think, to the Foreign Credentialing Commission and Physical Therapy. So they have like a board that evaluates your credential. They see if it match with theirs or not. If you're DPT or if you're from another country, if your credential, the transcript and everything, if it match with theirs, then they can issue you the license. And if the FCCPT sees okay, this credential is not up to standard of what they want, then they can either ask you, they will, they can send you a letter about what you need to match it up, and they can also send you to a program, which I think they are still doing that. They send you to a program called Plan Learning and Assistant Network Service. They call it PLAN. And that program is just like these are CPDs that we do. So you enroll for further course, like supplementary coursework, to bridge that gap between your or your coursework in Nigeria and the coursework in the US. And before you can practice, you have to also pass the licensing exam, which is the MPTE. I'm sure some of us were familiar with the MPT exam. I think now it costs about $485. So you have to write that exam. And after you pass that exam, to now get your license. So um, licensing and practicing in the US, it's regulated state by state. Unlike when you have one license, maybe in the UK or in Nigeria, you can work in Anambra, you can work in Lagos, you can work anywhere. So you have to write a license, you have to obtain the license for that um, state that you want to practice. And if you need to know the licensing requirement of each state, because you have a lot of states there, you need to contact the licensing authority. I'll drop their contact later so you can do that. And once you have your license, you apply for job. If you are fortunate and you get an employer, that most of the time is the employer that sponsor your visa to come. So they can sponsor, most of the time they sponsor the H-1B visa. But the H-1B visa is very competitive in the sense that it has like a annual cap. So it's a bit competitive in that way. And another thing some sponsors they apply for is more like the immigrant visa green card. I can't remember the category of that. I think yeah, I think it's EB3. I'm not too sure of that. It's the EB3 category. So they
Yes,
can
it is
apply.
three.
Is it EB3? I'm not sure.
Yes, it is
So
three.
yeah, so they can apply with that for you to practice there. So um that's I think that's the basics of practicing in US. I know I've not delved into it, like split everything. If we have question, ask, then that will bring a lot out for me to talk about. And when you're applying for the visa and the process, personally, I'm also a travel agent. I always advise people, if you're not using a travel agent that has a lawyer, try to see if you can get an immigration lawyer for some documentation, just to be sure everything is intact. Because you don't want to waste that money, everything, time, stress, and they deny the visa again. Because when you start it or you get your employment, a lot of people will start selling their house, selling this, selling everything, even tell all their village member that I'm the latest Americana now and things like that. So you just have to be careful when you are filing your document, because little error, they can reject it and you start all over again. So US is also similar to Canada pathway. So the Canada pathway to you have to definitely you have to get a qualification from Nigeria, which is either, I know most schools they are upgrading to DPT now. During our own time, it was normal 5-year course. You do your internship, do your service. But now most schools, then I think we only had 7 universities that was offering physio then. But now we have a lot of university offering physiotherapy, as either you have a degree of BMR or BPT, is the same thing. You have to get that first, then make sure you get your transcript. That's for you to do any evaluation, for you to do any documentation, you need your transcript, you need your certificate. And
Okay,
in
sir.
and in some in some cases, when you're doing the evaluation, some people, some of the credential evaluator or the assessor, they may need a letter of good standing from the board, which is the MRTBN in Nigeria. So definitely, once
Uh-huh.
you graduate from uni, you are automatically a member of the MRTBN, and they give you provisional license. From there, after a year or after NYC, you get the permanent license. So you also do your credentialing with the Canadian Ally of Physiotherapy Regulators. So I have the link also here. I can send down there later. So um, you also need to write IELTS for Canada. You need English test. That's IELTS. I'm not sure if they take any other exam. When I wanted to do my own, it was only IELTS that I think I did then. So I didn't even bother to check others. But if you are able to do IELTS, IELTS is more acceptable almost everywhere. Then you are also going to write, like in US that you have MPT exam. You in Canada, you also have the PCE exam. That's the physio competency exam that you have to write before you can even apply for license. You get, and just like the US, the license too is not like you have a license in the Abuja or in Nigeria, you can practice anywhere all over the country. There too, their license is regulated by province. They have the Alberta province, they have the Ontario, they have Manitoba, they have a lot like that. I think I'm not too sure if it is 12 or 13. So they have different provinces like that. So you have to check and see their requirement also where you want to go, and you apply for the license there. Then also for their own, also for the immigration document, you can, depending on the route, you can either do a work permit, which is also tied to your job, just like we had in the US that your sponsor, I mean your employer will sponsor your visa. So you can also um the in the Canada in Canada also, you have to go via the work permit, which is tied to a job. And also you can go through the common express entry. So because physio is part of the skilled occupation job for the express entry. So you just have to gather your document for that, which I think is even more easier. You just have to count your points, see if you meet up with the points, and just apply. And also, when you are doing any credentialing for any of this pathway, you also need like clinical hours. So I always advise people, when you are doing your credentialing for your clinical hours for any of these countries, don't just, because well, like in Nigeria now, most of us, we think we are good more at the MSK part or manipulation and things like that. Someone, or maybe you did more of your internship or more of your service, or you have a mentor that is keen about pediatrics. You now want to apply for this pathway for your licensing. Some people will write almost like 5 cases on pediatrics, write one or maybe orthopedics, and leave the rest. That may not work for you. I've seen a lot that has backfired. Like I said, I also run a travel agency, so that's why I'm used to that. I've seen a lot of people that came back to for us to process the document after they've rejected them. And if you look at what they did, it's not as if all these things you can do it yourself. You don't need a travel agency. or travel agent. You just have to be careful. So when we check all the documentation, everything they did, it's more about the how they file their clinical hours. Most people is the clinical hour, how you describe your scenario, how you describe where you saw the patient. They need some safety techniques. They need some more evidence based. When you are saying you saw a patient with cerebral palsy, they need you to incorporate some evidence base of how you treated the patient. You saw somebody with low back pain, they want you to be able to tell them um, how you rule out red flags, how how you evidence it, why your plan is like that, what will you do if this plan does not work, what's your next step. So they need all those things, not just for you to write, like go to ChatGPT and be writing. No, they want it like experience, something that yes, you are doing it. Write it like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. So if you've been having like a good um case file record, you can just bring some of your case record, look at the one that looks interesting, even if it is not perfect, polish it, and that will fly. So you can apply. I think that's it for Canada. I'm not sure if there's any other thing I need to talk about the Canada pathway. But like I said, for Canada, the express entry looks like one of the easiest pathway, even though Canada process is always take time. So if you are doing Canada processing or even US processing, give it more time, give it years, like a year, 2 years. Don't just think, okay, within 2 months, 3 months, then I'll get the job, I'll leave this country, I'll go and be practicing. No, a lot of people go and, you know, so just have it in mind that you need to give it more time and you need to be grounded in what you're writing. So, like I said, the last one I will talk about is the United Kingdom, that's UK. And when I'm discussing about it, you yourself, you'll be able to phantom why I put that as last and why I said it's a bit easier for you to go through that. Yes, I know you want to go to Canada, you want to go to US, but I always advise people go through the most easiest route. Then from there, you can now you gather more international experience, then you can move to wherever you want to move to. And trust me, US is good, Canada is good, UK is good, Australia is good, Ireland is good. And at times, most people only look into those three countries. I tell people don't look into those three countries, although I'm streamlined to talk about these three countries. Tell people look into Australia, look into Ireland, all these places, they're also accepting physio. UK is more congested now. Don't just keep, because the money of your license, the cost of licensing is not here if you convert it to Naira. Okay. So I'll now talk about the UK to round up, then we can do a comparison and see which you are planning to work on. So for the UK also, definitely you have to be qualified, like you have to finish your BMR or BPT, depends on what your school issues, is still the same 5 year course, or DPT, either of the three. The DPT is just a new improved one now. And after you have your credential, you need to also obtain a license to practice in the UK. The good thing about UK is if you have the license, you can practice anywhere in UK or in Scotland, because it's regulated by one body, which is the HCPC. So you see, it's not like it's each province you need to write licensing exam for this province, licensing exam for that province. This is more like they recognize our basic BMR or BPT or DPT. They recognize it directly. You just have to package well your document. Let them see your experience in writing. Like I said, if you are writing, don't just write one clinical experience or write 5 clinical experience on just one unit. We have different units. We have the orthopedic, we have pediatrics, we have cardiopulmonary, we have MSK, we have even domiciliary rehab. All those PP you are doing, you are going to people's house, is also like a community physio that you are doing. You put it as part of your experience. You also write about geriatric if you've done that before. So just pick like two from each case study. It's better you have multiple than writing something that is not up to what they want. So just write like 2 or 3 from each unit when you are writing your supporting, when you are filing your supporting document. So for the HCPC also, you pay for the HCPC credentialing. You submit your transcript like any other country. You submit your certificate also, and you submit a proof of English. For the UK, instead of you writing IELTS again, you can collect a letter from your university or even from your department stating that you are being taught in English. Then that letter, you can add it with your transcript and do evaluation on NARIC, which is, I think, is about 140 something pounds if it has not been increased. That's easier for you to just, and within 2 3 days, they will they will mark it that yes, you are proficient in English. Unlike starting to read for IELTS, starting for this pay this amount of money, you have to go on, you have to score 7 7 or 8 8 all round. So that's a bit easier to me. So you send that in, and you give them like 3 to 4 weeks. They get back to you with your license, with a message for you to pay for your license. Yeah, it was easier few years ago, like let's say early last year back to 2022. It was easier to obtain license and things like that. But now it's a bit difficult. I've seen a lot of people that have applied for this license for almost like 3 times, and they didn't. They denied them, saying okay, they need more clinical experience. They need this. At times, they don't even give any valid excuse to you. Just like I've been practicing for almost 7 years, this or 10 years, and things like that, and this is no. Why are you saying that is not proficient? So, and the good thing about it is once you finish, you have your certificate, you start your internship, you can start applying for your HCPC. You don't need to finish your NYSC to start applying for your HCPC. Just your, even from your attachment that you did in your part 4, part 5, those are also clinical experience. You can use that to draft your case, how you manage and everything to get your license. I remember during when I was in school, I have some of my friends that even before we finish part 5, they already have their HCPC. Like I said, then it was easier than now. So if you are writing it, make sure you cross all your T's, dot all your I's, and you also need a letter of good standing from the MRTB. And so I think you just pay them like 10,000 naira if they've not increased it, and you get your letter of good standing, with that. And once you have your license, what next? You need to apply for a job. Like I said, your license can work for anywhere in the UK, I mean in England and Scotland. You can use your license to practice there. So the next thing is for you to start hunting for job. Job was a bit, you know, easier, let's say a year ago, but like I said, everything is getting tougher every day. So if you are thinking, oh, I will start it maybe after I start working, or after 3 years of working, I don't have money now, you may be making a decision error, because let me tell you something, it will keep getting difficult, to keep getting harder every day to get license, to get job, or to even move out of the country. Keep getting harder. But the earlier the better you start yours. The more we are saying yes, it's harder for people to get license, some people are still getting it. The more we say it's harder for people to get job, some people are still getting it. Job is not the main thing now, because that's what we sponsor you. Just like the US, Canada, also pathway. You have to have a valid job that can sponsor you. So they give you a COS for you to come around. So to get the job, you have to start applying on maybe track,
Yeah.
TRAC, or you apply on NHS job portal, or you apply on Indeed or Total Job. You have a lot of sites for you to be applying. Just check if the sponsor. So if you see that the sponsor, just apply. Put in is very straightforward to apply. Just keep
Mhm.
writing your tab, prepare your statement of purpose. Statement of purpose is very, very important. You must align it to the job you are applying for. Draft a nice CV when you are applying for any of these job, or even sending any document. If you don't know how to write a CV, I'm sure we have organization that help with CV, and I'm sure there will also be a webinar on CV writing and packaging. So write a good CV, and once you get your job, you are good to go. They send you a
Wow.
sponsor and everything, you move. It's now left to you to find your ticket fee and every other thing. So that's
Yeah.
that about UK, US, Canada. Then
Thank you
another
very much,
thing
sir.
now, also before I round up on this, is that once you are in school now, because they said what next after school. And when I started this discussion, I said not everybody will succeed with their certificate, or will make it with their certificate. Even people in this UK, US, some people with they cannot survive with just the physio work. I always encourage people, once you are in the university, don't just pass through the university. Also let the university pass through you. Learn something. Know, have some skills. Acquire a lot of skills, even different from your physio, even different from anything you are doing. I have a lot of friends that they are not even they are not practicing with a physio. Some are in tech now, but the physio gave them a leverage. Physio, you get, everything is going about tech now. We now have physiotherapists that is building app to record documentation, to record a lot of things. So physio can also go into tech and everything. Learn a lot of business that can support you pending the time you break even. You finish school today, there's no guarantee that you will break even immediately. But things that you've been doing, things that you've learned, your handiwork, your skills will make you stand out. So I
Thank you
think
so
I've
much,
touched
sir.
major thing I would like to touch.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's important to note that there'll be time for question and answers at the end of the session. So every speaker is going to speak on what they want to talk about. Then afterwards, we hold question and answer session. Thank you very much, Mr. I saw that you corrected me when I pronounced. I saw you pronounced your name properly after I pronounced it. Ades Shokan, right? Yes,
Adeshoko, yeah.
Ades
You're right.
Shokan. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we'll be calling up the next speaker. The next speaker is still going to touch on physiotherapy as well. But this time around, he's talking about prospect for young physiotherapists abroad. So it's more like what's out there for you after you have decided to relocate or you've made the country of your choice. What's the next thing to do as a physiotherapist? So I'll be calling on Mr. Ibidayo Orolado. I hope I got this one correctly.
Olade.
Orolade. Okay.
No problem at all. I'm not
I
fussed
tried.
about. You did try, Daisy. You did try. Well
Thank you
done.
very
I
much.
think
Thank you.
they got the spelling of my surname wrongly. The last letter
Oh,
is E, not O,
oh,
but that's
okay.
fine as well.
Apologies for that. We
No,
take
no problem at
responsibility for
all.
that.
At least I'm here now to correct it.
Thank you.
So I'm not sure if I have been made like co-host yet, so I can share, or can I still share my slide? Let me try if I can share it.
Yeah, I think
So
you.
it looks like I can share
Yes, you
it.
can.
Please let me know if you can see my slide. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see a baby owl.
Right, the baby owl with a lot of curiosity.
Questions. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much for letting me in to share a bit of concept today. Thank you, Toby, for the lovely presentation. I would just say a kind of icebreaker or whatever we want to call it. Or let me just say I'm starting my introduction by saying that a few of what I will talk about as well has been covered by the first presenter, Toby Oluwatobi Adesokon. So we are talking to the futures of tomorrow very soon, very near future, the undergraduates. So after school, what next? Prospects of physiotherapists abroad, uh, building a global career from Nigeria. And yeah, my name is Dare. I'm popularly known as Dayo. So let's start here. So success abroad doesn't begin when you receive a visa, to be honest. It begins with the decision you make while you're still a student. So at this point, I will say good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Express Medical Global Services. I was on the call yesterday as well. What a lovely presentation by the engineering department, engineering team, the people that presented yesterday, and a few consultants from the Express EMG. And kudos for bringing this together. It is a privilege to speak to you all, healthcare professionals today, or aspiring potential healthcare professionals. Today, anyways, I don't really want to convince anyone to leave Nigeria. I would rather want to help you to become the kind of graduate that opportunities, whether in Nigeria or abroad, begin to look for. So let's crack on. A brief summary of who I am. I will go to that in my next slide, but I just want to let you all know that I, alongside a witness of others, we sat exactly where many of you are today. We worried about employment, what happens after internship and after NYSC. I wondered whether I was good enough, wondered if traveling abroad was only reserved for a few selected people, the affluent. But today, I want to let you know boldly, with my full chest, like we say in Nigeria, that I know something different. I know that preparation beats luck. Okay? So I grew up in Nigeria. I attended the University of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. I practiced in Nigeria for a few years, developing my skills as well as volunteering to serve at conferences. I remember where I was working then in Abakaliki. if in conference of the Nigeria Society of Physiotherapy was literally there for us to pick up or thrown at us, whichever perspective we want to look at it. And we just had to unpreparedly prepare to host a conference. We've never done it before, but it was one of the best conference ever. This is not me talking, that was the feedback. I also volunteered as ESCOs of Nigeria National Union of Allied Health Professionals before I then decided, okay, around COVID area, register and become a registrant with the Health and Care Professionals Council in the UK. Moving into the UK, I became a member of the Chartered Society of Physiotherapy, which just think of the CSP, which is the acronym for Chartered Society of Physiotherapy, as Nigeria NSP or ACAPN, as well as NUHAP. So it has a union arm, and it also has that kind of professional regulatory advisory arm as well. That is CSP. I become trained as an ILM certified action learning facilitator. So if I take you back to the other slide, that I became an author. I've got a book which I write. You can find it on Amazon. The title is From Abroad to Band 6, a physiotherapy guide to thriving in the NHS. And then because through what we started, that started like a little flame of fire, really. It became an inferno, and I will show you at some point. A group was created on Telegram. We've metamorphosed a bit to the WhatsApp now, but then Telegram was the only platform that could allow a large number of members. So we created Telegram, and then it started just small by small, and then it got to a point where we now started supporting people, especially the allied health professionals, mainly physiotherapists, to cross over from Nigeria to the UK and to some other countries, which led us to creating a website. I will also share a QR code. What I just need you to guys to do with the QR code is to scan it, go to the website, register freely. Do not forget to verify once you put your email. That's just like a security setting. And peruse it. It's free for now. And just give us feedback. And becoming a mentor to hundreds of internationally educated allied health professionals. So I moved to the UK, and I continue to build my professional and clinical experience and skills. So it wasn't just it wasn't one giant leap or everything I've explained. It was hundreds of small decisions. So I realized that every certificate, every volunteer opportunity, every difficult patient, every rejection during interview or during application. The first engineer that spoke yesterday talked about applying for about 100 jobs and got 90 rejections. So that is real. I resonate very well with that. And I'm sure every person that has gone through the same will testify. Right. So all of those little moments, eventually, they work together for a good purpose, like the good book says. So I will skip my biggest lesson, okay? And I will just continue to go so that I will mostly talk about what I'm meant to talk about today. I just want to say, in a world that is changing rapidly, probably mainly due to the advent of artificial intelligence, AI, I have interviewed people, I've worked with managers, and I've mentored professionals. And I can tell you that sometimes a considerable amount of times, the smartest candidate is not employed. The most employable candidate are the ones that are getting employed. Employers nowadays, they're not just looking at whether you qualified or graduated with first class. I decided to add this because it popped up yesterday as well. They're not looking at your grade, first class, 2-1, 2-2, or whatever grade you come out with. Employers want to know, as well as your qualification, they want to know whether What is your communication skills? Can you communicate? Are you a problem solver? Are you a leader? Can you lead? Can you adapt? Are you flexible? Are you coachable? Are you a team player? Are you reliable? Can people trust you? AI is changing jobs. Technical knowledge alone is not enough, but human skills are becoming increasingly valuable now. All the skills I've mentioned here, teamwork, reliability, you will realize most of this is not taught in the classroom. So this is why you need to build, I will advise that you build capacity. So remember when I said preparation beats luck. So I'm advocating that people become valuable, not just employable, okay? Today's choice shapes tomorrow's opportunity. Volunteering will help you to build network. You need that networking to find your mentors, and your mentors will support your growth in terms of developing your clinical and non-clinical skills as well. When you develop these skills, they will position you on the right path in your career development. Your professional bodies in Nigeria Society of Physiotherapy, academic, ACAPUN, they will all help you to find. It will help you build your network. It provides opportunity for networking, building your continuous professional development profile, and lots of volunteering opportunities arises as well. So just see it as a symbiotic relationship or mutual relationship, a relationship of mutual benefit, where you give and you take. All this helps to develop your communication. And I would just like to mention here that whichever country you decide to go, just know that there is difference in nuances. The way we communicate in Nigeria, and we all know it is what word am I looking for? It is culturally acceptable, is different from how you will communicate in the UK. So you need to learn that communication nuances, tailor it to where you are going to, which country you want to go to. People have mentioned Duolingo yesterday. There are AI apps that you can check now that you can say, you can just write a word, a few sentences like you would normally write it in Nigeria, and tell AI to refine it for you into, let's say, American cultural nuances. You will be surprised at how much will change. And then I would like you to try switch it for AI to refine it for you to the British cultural nuances, and you will be shocked how much it will say. I will tell you one of my first ever cultural shock when I came to the UK. I don't know if you can see my image. You see what I did there? This is our normal posing. This is how we pose for photo in Nigeria, isn't it? But if you come to the UK and you do your two fingers up with your palm facing yourself, it is a curse word in the UK. And that is one of my cultural shock. I did it innocently. I never knew I was offending anybody, but it is like the Americans telling you fuck you with the middle finger in the UK. So if you want to do it in the UK as a non-verbal gesture, non-verbal means of communication, your palm needs to be facing front while the back of your hand is facing you. So that's just a cultural shock. I will leave that out there for you. Okay. Do not forget to build your LinkedIn. That is currently the most important social media where people find work, where people look for you and know your skills. And when you build, don't write, I will use myself for example, DYRocks204 as your username, as your ID. Write your full name so that people will know who they are looking at. Okay. Right. This is for us. I know we're all here because we plan to, jackpot one day. This is not all about just moving abroad. The prospect of young physiotherapists abroad, why physiotherapists are needed worldwide. Okay. The world is not short of countries. The world is short of skilled physiotherapists. Countries like United Kingdom, like Toby has mentioned, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the Middle East is even, Switzerland, they are all looking for physiotherapists because there is a gap to be filled. Because in these developed countries, people are, because of in advancements in healthcare provision, people are living longer now. And it is projected that in the next 16 years, we have a lot of more aged people. That means we have a lot of musculoskeletal issues. We have a lot of cardiorespiratory issues, neurological issues. Currently in the UK, the government has created a 10 years NHS plan, which one of the core part of reason, one of the core agenda is to move healthcare from the acute hospitals into the community, which means there will be a lot of community rehabilitation. AI will do most, AI will do a lot, but a physiotherapist who has prepared themselves using AI will always be valuable. Okay. The common mistakes we make, like again, Toby mentioned, is waiting until final year, ignoring building your communication, improving your English language, leaving your IELTS practice or SEOL or whatever, TOEFL or whatever appropriate, acceptable English test that we are meant to do, leaving practicing it. There is a lot of things you can get on the internet now. YouTube, you will see a lot of learning materials for free, Leaving social media mantra, falling into the hands of fake agencies, fake promises, and not planning financially. I hope you can still hear me. I'm seeing a notification that says my internet is unstable. And also not building.
Yes, we can still hear you.
Lovely. Not building your network, not getting a mentor, especially in the country that you aim to go to. If someone promises you an easy visa, my friend, my dear brothers and sisters, please run, because there is no easy visa. And like I've tagged this visa, your visa is not the beginning. It is just an opportunity to continue to work hard. While life abroad is rewarding, safe, professional, exposes you to arrays of opportunities, growth as well, it also demands hard work, sacrifice, missing family, continuous learning, adapting to different cultures and different ways of practicing and of living as well. So you need to avoid shortcuts, start saving money towards your building, yes, towards your journey, your travel. Yesterday, Mr. Ayes talked about financial freedom. I believe you can also go back to watch yesterday's presentation if you miss it on the YouTube page of EMG. So it's all important and they work together. So let me just zoom into this. In addition to what Toby has mentioned, I have this slide prepared. This is entry level, but don't quote me. I got this online. It might not be it will give idea, but it might not be absolutely correct. So, but I know the UK own is correct. So that is the entry level salary for each country. And I won't talk much on the regulator licensing and first practical rule because Toby has talked on that. But what I would like to emphasize here is that don't be like my colleagues back when we were in Nigeria and they will look at the entry level in the UK because then we had decided we are going to the UK. Like Toby said, it's the easiest to get into, to be honest. It won't give you much stress. And that was because they mellowed down on some of their criteria during the COVID and Brexit period. It is becoming harder now. So, but opportunity is still there. We are still employing people from Nigeria. We're still giving people certificate of sponsorship. However, I won't talk on that. I won't talk on that now, but the only thing I want to emphasize here is don't make a mistake my colleagues made then. Immediately then, I remember a couple of my colleagues converted the take home of a band. So this is annual salary. What you are seeing there, £32,073. And if you divide that by 12, that is the monthly pay without deduction of tax. So just say a band 5 salary, which is the entry level salary in the UK, take home monthly now is about £2,200 minimum. I've reduced it to the barest minimum. And then my colleagues then, they just converted it to Naira. Now, if you convert it to Naira, you'll be seeing almost 3 million Naira. But one question I asked them then is that you are in Nigeria, you converted this salary. Remember that when you go to work in these countries, your cost of living will be exactly what they have to pay there. So when you are dividing and multiplying, make sure you factor in how much you're going to pay for rent, how much is your child care, how much is your groceries, and every other bills. In the UK, I'll tell you, council tax you need to pay. You need to pay for electricity and gas. You need to pay for parking, depending on where you live and where you park. These are just standard payments, let alone some other daily payments that you might need to make, transport fare and what have you. Okay. And then let me go to the next slide, which is also entry salary level snapshot. Sorry, I've moved that. Apologies. This is where we were before. This is the next one. This is the entry salary snapshot again, entry level. Okay. Just showing that. And in terms of prospects, especially, this is how you progress. In the UK, you move from band 5 to band 6, senior physiotherapist. Some use specialists for it, doesn't matter. Then you progress from 6 to 7. So from 6, you can actually, from band 6, become a first contact practitioner like Toby. If you remember when he introduced himself, he's also a first contact practitioner, which is a bit similar to MSK, but more advanced. Or you could go on and become advanced clinical practitioner. And or you could just progress clinically to become a specialist band 7 physiotherapist or a clinical lead or team lead. It is all band 7. And from there, in the clinical setting, you can progress to be a band 8, which is more or less now like therapy manager. However, from band 6 as well, if you decide to go academically, you can go and become a lecturer and go the academic route. Okay. In the Australia, start from grade 1 to grade 2 to senior or grade 3, and then advanced team lead or owner of a company. In Canada, entry level resident physio to become a registered physio, senior physiotherapist, and specialist manager or owner, and so on and so forth. In USA, licensed senior board specialist, faculty owned or executive. And in Switzerland, it starts, entry level is called recognized physio in most places, experienced clinician, that is just the level above entry level. And then above experience is specialist practitioner. And then the peak is clinic owner or a practice lead. Okay. Physiotherapy, like we already know, or we should know, isn't just a job. It can become a platform. I remember when I got to part 1, I will say here honestly that when I wrote JAMB, I never picked physio. I didn't know what physio was. It wasn't as popular as it is now. We didn't know the prospect, which is why it's a very good opportunity that there is this sort of platforms and this sort of webinars being organized for you guys and ladies today. Okay. We never knew the prospect, but we still used to hear, oh, they need you in abroad. You are short supply in abroad. But abroad is not just something you flick your finger like that and go to. So this is a good opportunity. So please make good use of it. And okay, so my next slide is your decision tree. don't ask which country pays the most. What I would like you to ask is, which country's pathway can I realistically prepare for, and where can I build a fulfilling career? My advice to you is that do not chase countries. Just make yourself valuable. Valuable people create opportunities anywhere you are. So do not chase countries. Become valuable. And that there is your decision tree. I will leave that for at the end of the presentation. If there is any other question, any question that people want to ask. Somebody
Mhm.
asked what is the any opportunity for physiologists. I think I saw that. And yesterday, yeah, today I will just talk about HCPC. HCPC do not only regulate, it's just think of it like a MRTB. HCPC do not only regulate physios, they regulate other like science, medical lab science, science lab tech. They regulate radiographers, they regulate autopsies, and they regulate dietitians, as far as I can remember. This is our
Okay.
success formula. Sorry, is my time up? Yeah, I've got
Apparently.
only 2 slides. Wait. What slide am I? I can't remember. But
You're on slide 13 and you have
13.
5 more slides
Oh,
rather.
yeah, I will do
And
it quickly. So
your
all of
time is
these creates your
remaining
career
just
success.
6 minutes.
Yeah. What is the future of AI, future of physiotherapy in the AI world? I've touched on that. It won't replace physios. Physiotherapists using AI will replace those who do not use AI. So what I want you to look at is, who am I becoming? What skills am I developing? And who is my mentor? If opportunity comes tomorrow, would I be ready? Again, I bring you back to this. Don't let your password determine the size of your dreams. Let your preparation determine the size of your opportunities. Build your skills before chasing visas. Characters open door. Network intentionally. Start preparing today. Nigeria is where your journey begins, not where your dream ends. Okay? And thank you for listening. I will just leave you with that QR code,
Thank
or that's
you.
the website over there. And that is the Amazon link to my book. If anybody wants it, I'll put it in the chat later. And
Thank you for that.
yeah, thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you.
Stop
Thank
sharing
you.
now.
It's thank you very much for that. I think it's quite painful that our speakers have so much to say but so little time because yeah, I can relate to the struggle. And I appreciate the fact that you're able to cover as much within the little time that is allocated. Thank you so much for that. So, without wasting time, the reason why I'm hopping through all of this is to ensure that there's enough space for the question and answer section so that we can get to talk to people's issues directly, right? And if you're interested in the book, he'll be sharing it in the comment section for you to um, read or purchase, whatever the case may be. So we'll be calling on our next speaker who also has 20 minutes, and he's going to be speaking on doctors' pathways, right? So if you are a doctor here, it's your time to shine. Our speaker will be speaking on doctors' pathways to the US, UK, and Canada. Some of you may wonder why we picked this particular countries. It's because most of the time, this is where majority of the opportunity lie, right? Although there are other countries, but sometimes you would have to learn a different language, and most people are not ready for that stress, right? It takes a whole different process, and I believe that we'll create more webinars in the future time to teach you about other countries as well. But for this live, we are focusing on the UK, US, and Canada. So we'll be inviting Dr. Chibwike Anyanwu. I've pronounced plenty names this period that I've never pronounced before. Dr. Chibwike Anyanwu. I'm just confirming that you are with us on the call.
Yes, I am. I think I'm having a bit of difficulty switching my video. I would
Oh,
prefer not to even be showing my face today.
I hope you can pardon me. I was just trying to figure out how to put the filters, but I can't. I can't seem to figure it out today. But good
Please,
evening, everyone.
pardon. Good evening. Thank you for joining us today. It's such a privilege. So the floor is all yours.
Good evening, my esteemed colleagues. That's the two great physiotherapists who have spoken before and standing on existing protocols. Um, just before I go into the talk, I just want to find out, like, am I speaking to final year or close to final year students or entry level medical students or doctors already, or is it a mixture of everything?
It's mostly a mixture of
Okay.
everything, but our target population was mostly the final year
Okay. All right. That's fine.
and
Thank you.
the recent graduates. Yes.
So, well, I would be following a different approach up from the previous speakers. I believe that if you're a medical student, if you are already a clinical student, that's from 300, that's from 400 level and above, that means you started in your pathology and pharmacology. If you are a final year medical student, if you're a house officer, if you're a medical doctor, if you're a medical officer, if you're a registrar, you have already one way or the other come in contact with someone who is talking about leaving the country, something we talk about. In fact, some of the things I'm going to say today, you are already aware about. Um, I might not go in depth into the pathway for each because I believe that all these are researchable online. But I will just tell you a bit about each country and what's going on now. And I don't know if that would help you make a decision. Are you with me so far? Like I was introduced, my name is Chibike Anyanwu. I'm a medical doctor. I graduated from the University of Benin. And then I came into the UK. I worked as an emergency medicine doctor for a couple of years. Then I switched into general practice, what is known as family medicine in Canada and USA. I think that's what they also call it in Nigeria. And I'm currently a general practitioner. I also work in medical emergency department on the weekends. We call that locum here, just because I love emergency medicine. I still dabble in a bit of other things. I'm also interested in women's health. So I did get my diploma in Royal College of Obstetric and Gynecology in the UK. But that aside, I think the main reason this appointment or this gathering was organized today was to talk about pathways. Where do you want to go to? Do you want to work in the UK? Do you want to work in Canada? Do you want to work in USA? I think that's what was given to me. And then I have put down Australia here. So I will start with the UK, where I am from or where I'm working currently at the moment. So if you want to work in the UK as a medical doctor, I think the pathway is basically straightforward. You need to have graduated from medical school first. I think before you can start writing the exams. And you have three exams to write. The first exam you need to write is an English exam. You can write IELTS, the academic, or the OET. And then after you write the exam, you need to score at least band 7 in all categories. So you need to score at least band 7 in all categories for that IELTS to be valid. So even if you score like 888 and you go and score like 6.5 in the writing, you would have to rewrite the IELTS again. A couple of people found IELTS quite difficult, so they switched to OET because OET is somehow related to the medical specialty. Once you are able to pass your IELTS, you then can go write the PLAB 1. So the PLAB 1 is a multi-choice question. Multi-choice, that means objective. I think it's about 180 questions. I'm not sure. It's been a long time I wrote it. I think they have centers in Lagos, Enugu, and Abuja as of the time I was writing it then. And then it used to be difficult to get dates because you can, in 2026, you can be booking dates for 2027. I don't know how it is now. But once you've passed your PLAB 1, the next exam is PLAB 2. PLAB 2 is like an OSCE exam. We call it, what do we do? We call it, so when you write your medical exam in medical school, you do the theory, then there's the one that you do the short case and the long case. That's how the PLAB 2 is like. So it's stations where you go through, there's an actor there, they give you 8 minutes to see your patient. You take history and then you make a plan at the level of an FY2. That's just a doctor who has just finished internship. As of the time I was doing mine in years ago, I think we had Samson Academy and Keystone Academy for people who kind of like prepare people for PLAB 2. Now, PLAB 2 is only written in the UK, so you have to, if you've passed your IELTS and you've passed your PLAB 1, you have to prepare for the PLAB 2. By this, you have to build up your accounts because you have to apply for a visit visa. You have to pay for the exams, which is over £1,000 now. And then you have to book an academy, which at that time was about £600. But I think there are cheaper ones now. You have to come down to the UK, which is going to cost you at least £1,000 in return ticket. You have to book accommodation here in the UK, and then you write the exam, and then the result comes out a month after. Once you've done that, then you go back home to Nigeria, and then you start applying for jobs. Right now, the job market is a bit difficult as opposed to during the COVID era when it was easy for us to get jobs. But there are people still getting jobs. So why it's become more difficult now, if it is actually the simplest out of the 4 countries I've mentioned? Well, not really. I think Australia is now looking better than UK because of recent things that's happened in the UK. And this is because I think recently they had a lot of doctors and the UK trained graduates were complaining that after their foundation training, which is like the internship, that's the houseman job we do in Nigeria, they are finding it difficult to get jobs into training positions. So they made a rule this year stating that they were going to prioritize UK trained medical graduates this year into training positions first. So there were a lot of international medical graduates that were getting into residency training from Nigeria. But because of that, they could not get into training this year. But they are looking into it more to decide for international medical graduate if they're going to put it at 3 years or 5 years as to of NHS experience before they can get into medical training. Now, you would say if they are considering the UK medical graduate force, why am I still talking about the UK? Because the UK has what we call training pathway and the non-training pathway. So if you've passed your PLAB 1 and your PLAB 2 and you've registered under GMC and you've gotten everything, you can enter into the non-training pathway or into the private work in the UK, what we call NES, and then gain experience before you go into the training pathway. But there's still a battle right now as to what they will call adequate NHS experience, whether they will take 3 years or 5 years. It's still ongoing now. But that's that for the UK. Then we come to the USA, which almost everyone loves, because why the USA pathway is difficult, by the time you become a consultant, what they call an attending in the USA, you'll be making big amount, you'll be making large amount. If you study family medicine, at least, you'll be making at least 250,000 to 350,000 US dollars yearly as your annual salary. But if you are able to get into surgical specialties, you are looking at close to 400,000, 500,000, 600,000 as your annual salary. So the US is the goal for most physicians. Even in the UK, yeah, there are a couple of people I have my colleagues who came from Nigeria to the UK and they worked in the UK for 1, 2, 3 years. And because the pathway into US is more expensive than the UK, with the salary they've gained in UK, they started the USA pathway and they start moving to the US from the UK. So you can have the USA as your final plan, but you can start from somewhere that is easy, maybe the UK or the UK or Australia. So for USA, you need to do what we call ECFMG verification, and that is related to your school. So I think sometime last year or last 2 years, the ECFMG did something that they said all schools should ensure that they can be verified, and I asked them to pay a certain amount of money so that they can be able to verify them via ECFMG. I want to believe that Unizik, that's University, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, have done that, because I know that there are a couple of people I know that in the US practicing in that studied in Unizik that moved within the last few years. So I want to believe that they have updated that. And the difference between one of the differences between the US and the UK is that for the USA pathway, you can actually start while you are still a medical student. You don't need to graduate. In fact, before you start, I wish someone had told me the best time to write the first exam for the USA is in your 400 level or after your 400 level, when your pathology, pharmacology, medical biochemistry, anatomy, and physiology is still fresh in your brain. Because the step one is mainly composed of this. And that is the most difficult step to pass out of the 3 steps to get to USA. So many of the things I'm not saying you can get online. You can put on ChatGPT, you can put on Claude, you can ask, can you please outline the pathway for me? It's going to give you the exact fees and where to go from here, but I will just be touching on it briefly. So you do the ECFMG verification. I think you pay $160. And then after you do that, they would then tell you that you are eligible to pay for the exam. You pay for the exam, which cost about, because you are writing outside Nigeria, outside the USA, or you're an international medical graduate, by the time you calculate the money you have to pay for the exams and other fees, it will be getting close to £1,000. Now, the USMLE Step 1 is not written in Nigeria, but it's written in Ghana. So you would have to go to Ghana to write the exam. So you have to also calculate your transport to Ghana, the hotel to Ghana, hotel or where you're going to stay in Ghana and coming back. So you write the step 1, and after you pass the step 1, you write the step 2. Now, step 2 is based only on clinical medicine. That's your cardiology, your cardiology, your gastroenterology. Is made of internal medicine and surgery. Those are the kind of questions you see in your step 2. It's also not still written in Nigeria, so you would have to go to Ghana to write it and come back, and it also costs about £1,000 too. And the reason why I'm calling the price in pounds is because I just know the price in pounds, and because I have looked at it myself here. So after step 2, the next thing you want to do is you want to write your OET. In the past, before COVID, they used to write this clinical examination. They call it step 2 CS, clinical skills. But due to the advent of COVID, they took that part away and they used OET to replace it. So you write the OET, and when you've passed your step 1, your step 2, and your OET, then you can now apply for the full ECFMG certification. After you've applied for the certification, then you can then say you want to enter into what they call the match. And I think the window opens from September, if I'm correct. It opens in September. And so you start applying for college, applying for residency, because unlike the UK, there is nothing like non-training pathway in the USA. Everything is training, because how they do it, once their medical students are done with training and they become a doctor, they enter into training immediately, into residency training. There is nothing like medical officer or is look-alike in the USA. So you start applying for that, and that again is very capital intensive. Um, and then you have to decide which program you want to go to. Now, it's not just about passing the exams, because you have to also do other things if we are looking for specialties, because you'll be applying to these programs and you're telling them, oh, I want to be a cardiologist. They want to see that you've done research, or you've done audits, or you've done things that is aligning with your desire to become a cardiologist, to become a gastroenterologist, to become a surgeon, to become an obstetrics or gynecologist. So many international medical graduates, they end up studying family medicine or internal medicine, because those are the easier specialties to match to. However, that doesn't mean that if you love obs and gynae or surgery, you should give up easily, because my own colleague, my own very classmate, matched into obstetric and gynecology, and people were telling him he would not, and he still got there. I think I know an alumni of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Dr. Chisom, that is also studying obstetrics, or there's also an obs and gynae attendee in the USA. I know him from Facebook, but I think he did a master's in the USA before he matched into obs and gynae. So if you have a strong desire for surgery, emergency medicine, obstetrics and gynecology, you can work towards it. And it all starts from your medical school days. When your consultants are doing research, you follow them, collect information with them. I think there is a team in Unilag that helps people to build up their publication, to help them to build up their publication to aid their matching. Okay. Sometimes some people try to apply right step 3 to help them match in the US. But again, for the step 3 examination, it's only written in the US. It costs about £1,000. You also have to calculate your plane ticket, applying for visa, and knowing that right now it's quite difficult for Nigerians to get visa from into the US from Nigeria. That said, all the things I've said so far you can get all this information online. I said I was going to let you know what's happening in the system now. What is happening right now is that it's difficult for people, even after passing all these exams, even after matching, it's difficult for them to get that visa from Nigeria into USA. So you will see someone has spent almost £10,000, £13,000. At the end of the day, you've matched into a program into the US. You've packed your bag, you've applied for the visa, you're applying for the J1 visa. Yes, I'm going to the US, I'm now a doctor. But because of these recent Trump rules, it's difficult for people to move from Nigeria into the US. However, that should not make you give up, because rules change. If you say that the USA is your goal and you want to work towards it, I would still advise you to go and start writing these exams now. Start preparing for it, because you don't want 2 or 3 years down the line, you hear that they have lifted the ban, or even 6 months down the line, they have lifted the ban from Nigerians. And then those that worked on this pathway are able to go, while you are stuck there. You start saying, if I had known, I should have written the exams. That said, if you feel like you don't want to, you can go to somewhere like the Australia first or UK first. And then from there, you start gathering the funds to make your way to the USA. But I want to tell you that if your goal is the USA, you should not give up. Don't give up. It's achievable. I know there are people that are doing it. Sometimes they say you cannot match the first time you apply. I've seen people match the first time. Sometimes they say if you apply greater than 5 years of your graduation, you will not match. I've seen people match. So the desire to leave Nigeria should be pushing you. I want to go to this place. If that's where you
Yeah.
want to go, start working towards it. Has my time run out?
Why does everybody ask me this question when I unmute my mic? Yes.
Okay. All right, that's fine. I'll just round up in 2 minutes.
Thank you.
So um, for the Canada pathway, I would advise you, unless you're going into the direct entry path, that's you're going into the permanent residency pathway, you are going to get your PR from Nigeria. Just don't bother looking into Canada. It's not like I'm like giving you bad news or something like that. It's just that Canada does not have non-training pathway. They only accept people for training, and they will only accept people that have permanent residency into residency programs. So if you don't have a permanent residency, what they call a green card, or you are not a citizen of Canada, it will be difficult for you to work as a doctor in Canada. But there are pathways if you have this. And like I said, you can get all these on ChatGPT. It's very easy. It's just 5-10 minutes, you have lots of information. And the final pathway, the Australia pathway looks the same thing like UK. You just need to write an English exam, an AMC question, AMC one, and then you can move directly into into Australia, and work as a doctor under observation for 12 months and get a full license. Or you write your second exam and you get a full license immediately. If Canada is your goal at the end of the day, you say, my family is in Canada, I want to go to Canada. You can come into UK, get into residency training, or go into Australia, get into residency training. Once you become a consultant, once you become a general practitioner like myself, then you can go into Canada. You don't need to write any exam again. They will just give you a PR immediately. And with that, that sums up all I've had to say. I thought I was going to even spend less than 20 minutes. I hope all I've said has been helpful. Right now, to match or to move into different countries is difficult. In the UK, the main thing is that they are trying to keep the training pathways for UK medical graduates, but people are still getting into non-training jobs, and for non-training jobs, they can go into training jobs. For USA, the main problem right now is that it's difficult for people to move from Nigeria directly into USA after passing the exams because of this recent Trump rule. But that should not make you give up. Write the exam, have everything down, waiting. Once they lift the ban, you can move ahead. For Australia, it looks like that's the easiest way to go to now. And for Canada, if you know you don't have a permanent residency, or you're not a citizen, just don't just leave Canada out of your way for now. The other option is becoming a consultant in UK, Australia. That way, Canada will accept your consultancy level. You work as a consultant in Canada, and you don't need to write any exams anymore. Thank you. Yeah, I'm done. Hope that helps.
Yeah, yes, it does. It does. I mean, I had no idea that for Canada you had to get a permanent residency first, and I'm very sure that a lot of people did not know that. Because the idea is that you can probably apply to their body or something like that. I know I've heard somebody say that before, but thank you
Yes,
for throwing
yes, you can apply, but they would only give those that have permanent residency
I have permanent
first.
residency. Wow,
Yeah. So there are those even with permanent resi that are in Canada that are working as taxi drivers that can't even get into
yeah,
work as doctors because of that barrier. That's why.
that's close.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Really, really. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions at the end of the session. So without so if as people are already somebody's already typing a question, please keep your questions coming in. I will definitely go through the questions that have been written, and I will take those ones first. While we are once it's time for the question and answer session. So next we are going to be inviting Mrs. Peace Akokadike to talk to us about nursing pathways to the US. She's currently a mental health nurse and specialist in the United States of America. So, what a better person than someone who is already in the system and has been in the system to tell us how to get into the system. Mrs. Peace, the floor is yours if you can hear me.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Can
afternoon.
you
You
hear
look
me?
very beautiful. Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so migrating to the US as a nurse. So, anyway, a bit about myself. My name is Peace. Graduated from Uniben. I did my bachelor's in Uniben. I currently work in the US as a psychiatric nurse. Also in pursuit of my um, nurse practitioner nurse practitioner program. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it about me. So let's begin. First thing I would say, if you want to come work as a nurse, and pretty much, I feel like all the speakers that spoke earlier, it all it revolves around the same thing. Like we're all like healthcare professionals, so it's license. You're dealing with license. You have to get license so that country wherever it is you want to go, in order to practice there. So basically, you get your nursing degree, you get your nursing license, you get that verified. Um, I mean, if you know about the process or if it is your first time, you have to sign up with like CGFNS. Pretty much is a body that interprets your Nigerian degree to kind of like the standard in the US, to a US standard, and your license as well. I'm not too sure. Someone could correct me. I heard there's currently a pause in Nigeria, like the NMCN. You have to work 2 years post graduation now. I'm not too sure about that. So if somebody could let me
Yes.
know if
Yes,
that's still
it's
the
the
case.
criteria.
Is that
Yes, the
boy?
criteria for the
Is
license to be
Nigeria
verified.
Nigerian, unfortunately. But yeah, so there's that one. But regardless, just like the earlier speaker said, don't let that not dash your hopes. See that as an opportunity as well to gain experience, but gain useful experience. Just like they said, if your goal is the UK, where do you see yourself going? What country do you see yourself going, first of all? And most of these plans don't just start when you graduate from school. When you go into school, what's your goal? Do you want to work in Nigeria? If you want to work in Nigeria, do you want to own your own business? Do you want to open a home care? What do you want to do? You can be anything in any place. Do you want to go abroad? Do you want to practice abroad? Okay, now, what country is it? What do they need? Start to gather all you need before that time. You don't want to start gathering things at the dying minutes. So back to what you need. So first of all, while you're doing your verification, you get your documents ready. We know Nigeria. I remember when I was trying to get my license done. I mean, just throw this here too. I also worked in the UK before I moved to the United States as well. I started like sending my documents. I think like a year after I was done with Uniben, I believe. Because Uniben can be, Nigerian schools can be very funny. You're trying to get your transcript sent, they're going to take a billion, zillion years. They're going to send you back and forth, back and forth. NMCN, they're probably going to try to frustrate you. So those are not things you want to do when like you want to leave like ASAP. There are things that you want to have done, set things in stone years back, right? So your verification is done, check. Now, once your verification is done, depending on what state you decide to go, I did mine to New York. I'm in the New York area. You make sure that you sign up with the boards, send out whatever documents they need. You have to just send them. When that is all done, they send you authorization to test, which is your ATT. You prepare and take your NCLEX. Now, speaking of the NCLEX, this is something you can do in the meantime while you're still waiting for everything to be done. You have to study, 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 study. Don't only study because you want to write an exam. Like I would say, study and let most of these things become a part of you. You'll know your metabolic panel, know your lab values. Know read and read and read and read, and let's just become a part of you. So it's not like a chore. Um, like if you, I think you could go write it in South Africa. If you have the funds, you can go do that. Some people, like I did it from the UK. You can, if you're in the UK, you can write it there. Pearson's there as well. I think I don't know if it's in India. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
prepare,
in
right?
India, Kenya.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
all of it.
So if you have the funds, you can go write the exam. It doesn't expire. The only thing that you're gonna have to renew, even if all these policies, Trump is trumping, the only thing you have to do is just renew your license. If at some point your license, like here, expires before you migrate. So get your NCLEX done. You pass the NCLEX, then you welcome on board. Then to get employed, you after then you start to search, try to get a job, interview. People usually have to sign up with, excuse me.
Hi, tomorrow. I hope we don't have any condos.
Oh,
Mr. Bright, please mute your mic. Thank
oh,
you very
okay,
much. Sorry, that was
okay.
a
Sorry about
mistake.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, some people sign up with like you can there's something called direct hire. Some people just reach out to a hospital themselves and do like direct hires. But some other people like to sign up for agencies like AMN, Connected, Worldwide Health, things like that. So those agencies also like help you find hospitals, link you up to get interviews. As soon as you get your interview, you get a job, the hospital pretty much gives you an offer. I believe your agency provides you with like a lawyer, like a case manager that takes care of your case. They're moving on. So whatever documents you need to, because the hospitals usually file your green card as well, right? You come into the US like a 10-year green card. So that person will let you know what documents you need. You submit those documents. As soon as you do that, I believe you get on a queue, and that constantly gets updated, right? So that, like, I think even recently they just that queue just became very recent now. But previously it was delayed because I think there was some sort of delay with Biden era as well. So now people are like, dates are now current. So your date is like the date you put in your petition date. So just know that date, when that date becomes current for you, like you could put it in today and it could be like in 2000, right? Or 2020, 2023. So when your date becomes current, then they'll usually call you like for an interview, bring in your paperwork, you get your medicals done at that point. If you get approved, you get your green card, pretty much. But like I said, you have a case manager that lets you know what to do, pretty much guides you through the way. Okay, that's that about getting a job. And then you get your job and then you come to America. Requirements, like I said, your nursing degree, your NCLEX, your passport. So, as far as what you can do to prepare early, like I said, focus on your academics when you're in school. Like for those of us that are in school, that you're like students here, focus on your academics. We know how nursing can already be. So like just come out with good grades. Because honestly, the GPA you come out with also matters here. It might not matter at first when you're trying to get a job or like come to the US, you're a nurse, like they say. But then when you're trying to go up the ladder, it matters, right? It matters for like your next employer. It matters for the next level you want to be. Like I said, I'm trying to become a nurse practitioner. That matters as well. Make sure you work on your English and your computer skill. Volunteer, gain useful clinical exposure. Don't like gain clinical exposure. Know, like I said, know your labs. There's a lot of critical thinking when it comes to working in the US. Like you have, like they give you a license and it's like you as a nurse in the US, you are a brand. Everybody talks about how nurses make so much money. Well, yeah, you do make a lot of money, but you need to see yourself as a brand and you want to present as the best version of yourself. So at any point in time, you need to make sure that you know your stuff. And how would you know that? By getting useful clinical exposure. Um, yeah, getting useful clinical exposure and just know your thing. So the time you're like in Nigeria or if you're in the UK, wherever you are, make sure that you are pivoting and make sure that you're getting the exposure you need. For example, I wanted to be a psychiatric nurse. Like I knew from like nursing school that my favorite subject was when we went for psychiatric posting. So even if I had to go through med surge, I did a bit of med surge. I did a bit of I did a bit of pediatrics, right? I moved around and then I found what speaks to me, right? And then I try to navigate my way to get there. you might not get to where you want from the startup, but you need to be prepared and flexible enough to go multiple routes, get a couple of exposures here and there to help you discover what it is, that area it is that you want to go to. You don't want to go spend so much money trying to specialize, like go to advanced school, specialize in something, only to find out that, oh, this doesn't sit well with you. And when you're trying to figure that out, you have to see, how does this fit to me and speak to me as a person? How does this specialty speak to me as eventually have a family? How does this speak to me as a family person? How does this speak to my family life? How does this speak to my work-life balance? Right? What you're doing has to be something you enjoy. Prepare early for NCLEX, learn about evidence-based practice. So here as well, they do gold standard evidence-based practice. Like your practice has to be backed by certain guidelines. Research, learn how to read research as well. Because when you have conversations with people and when you network, you want to make sure that you are speaking as an expert and someone that's well informed. Get strong skill in med surge, ICU, if you like critical care, emergency, and honestly, you do not have to wait until you're here before you gain these experiences. They have hospitals in Nigeria. I would want to believe that you can gain this in Nigeria. But even if I don't know if Nigeria still does that thing where nurses can draw blood. I don't know if that's still a thing. Try to go beyond that. Like try to put yourself out there, even if the hospital says, "Oh, nurses are not allowed to." There's always that one of maybe get close to a house officer or a doctor and be like, hey, can you teach me? Can I try? Can I, just try to gain those skills as well. Learn how to listen to hard sounds, learn how to listen to long sounds, learn what the different long sounds are. Because even when you're doing your NCLEX, you have to recognize and know what the differences are. Know your patient assessment and documentation, have good communication skill, critical thinking skill, have good leadership skill as well. I'm going to move to the part everybody likes, which is the money part. Yeah, so as entry level new grad, so one more thing to know is working in America, your license is based on states. Like you get licensed in a particular state. It's not like general like the UK with the NHS. You get licensed in specific states. So we probably all know like some of the highest paying states are like California, yeah, number one. You have New York, you have I think Hawaii also pays really good too. Um, and most of these three states I mentioned, they're like standalone states. So standalone states are you want to get licensed, you're going to be licensed. Like, say you get licensed in California, you're going to be licensed in California. You can practice in California. You can't use that California license to practice somewhere like New York. New York has their own license. You have to be licensed in New York to practice in New York. But besides these three states, you have other states that are called compact states. So, for example, Texas, right? People like Texas, the big house in Texas, yeah. Texas is a compact state. What does this mean? Is if you have a Texas license, you can practice in other states as well with your Texas license, as long as those states are a part of the contact license kind of body, pretty much, right? So that's one thing to bear in mind. Like, do you want to get a compact license? Having a compact license, if your goal is to be a travel nurse, having a compact license to be very essential. But on another end, some travel nurses just rather travel in California, right? So just putting that out there, like just know that um if you want to go for the money, these are the states that pay more. That's that. And for new grad or entry level, you can earn as much as 70 to $800,000. With experience, you go up like that, up to 140. For nurse practitioners, you earn between 120 to 130,000 per year. And we know the CRNA, it can earn as much as like 250,000, things like that. So just know what you want, know what your end goal is. For example, you want to be a CRNA, you know that you need ICU experience. So, like I said, you want to know your labs, you want to know your chemistry very well, the chemical compositions of the body. You want to know all that like at the back of your hand. You need to be really good because you're going to take like 3 years of work to be a full-time student to become a CRNA. If you have your goal is to become an MP, become a provider someday, What would you like to be a provider in? Do you want to work with geriatric patients? Do you want to work in psychiatry? Do you want to work in, I don't know, family nurse practitioner? What exactly do you want to do? You have to know what that is, what your goal is, and then um kind of work towards your goal. What are the steps you need to get to where you need to be? Um Now, to ensure a smoother journey, I'll make sure, like I said, have a strong clinical foundation, say for your exam, be ready to spend money. Be ready to spend some sort of money, some kind of money. Now, just like I think the first or second speaker also said, and pretty much all the speakers said, um, now there's currently a policy. One thing to bear in mind is it seems like moving abroad as a healthcare practitioner can be a bit difficult now, because countries are like reviewing policies change every day, and that's another reason why you need to make hay while the sun shine. um Make sure you take advantage of opportunities when they come, and for that to be, can you hear me? I feel like I'm just speaking. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
So I feel like that's why I'm saying, that's why I said make sure you get your things, make sure you get your things intact from while you're in school. Make sure you've had your, say for example, someone that's already had their document verified, they've taken their NCLEX. If the window opens, a short window opens, they're ready to go, right? Rather
Yeah.
than you on the other hand that is waiting, oh, everything's not open, no, let me just wait, let me fold my hands and wait. No, when that window opens, you won't be ready. You'll be starting, and that window could shut while you're still starting, right? Or while you're still trying to make sure you have everything intact. So, just bear that in mind. Get everything done. Research agencies you want to work with. Different agencies come with different packages. Know what you're signing up for. Know what you're signing up for. One thing when you move abroad that you need to know, you need to read. You need to read whatever they give you to sign, whatever you're signing to. It's a contract and you're liable to it, right? So know what you're signing up with this agency. Know what the exit plan is. I know some people move overseas, like move to the US with an agency, and then you come here and you're like, oh, for example, the hospital you came with moved you to a rural community, right? And you want to come out to the city or you want to now become a travel nurse. Well, that's fine, but you just need to know up ahead what it takes for you to break out of that agency and break out of the contract. Because coming in, you're usually on a contract with the hospital, or you work with them for the next 5 years, or you work with them for the next 7 years. Now, it was exciting and all coming in. Yes, you have your green card, you're in the country, but let's be honest, sometimes you might not have the best co-workers, right? You might not be
Yeah.
treated right in that hospital. You might experience some sort of bias. Those are valid things, and because you're working the license, you don't know want to work in a place that's going to compromise your mental health and compromise your license, right? So you might need to leave. So that's why you need to know up ahead, what do I need? What's going to be the repercussion if at some point I decide to leave before the end of my contract? I need to break my contract. How much do I need to pay? What are the steps I need to go? You need to know all of this ahead so that you mentally prepare yourself. It's good to be
Yeah.
optimistic, yeah, but you need to make sure like you know everything that it entails. Um One more thing, also stay professional, continue learning, like we never stop learning until we die. Um, yeah, and okay, next one. Is it worth relocating? Definitely. It is worth relocating. For me, I hope it's the same for you too. Well, yeah, because you get better career opportunities, like you get higher pay potential, you get
Mhm.
access to like advanced technology, um professional growth as well. I think according to Maslow's hierarchy of need, like self-actualization, you know, everyone needs to get to that point. You feel like you are living at least you have a place that gives you opportunity to live your best self. No, I'm not saying it's any easier when you move abroad. There are definitely challenges, like there are bills to pay. Life is not, and like some of the, I'll say, the cons of moving abroad, like you're not with family, You don't have that family
Yeah.
support, like you're having to juggle your family with, trying to navigate a career. But it's way better, to me, it's way better than not having the opportunity to like grow your career, right? See yourself growing your career, see yourself putting in the hard work. Like here is, you put in the hard work, you get the pay. You get as much pay as you put in, right? And also, I would also say, I admonish those of us that are still in school. One thing that some people fall prey to here is you finally come in, you're working as a bedside nurse. That is just the beginning. You should always look ahead. How do I intend to scale up? You did not come to this life to only be a bedside nurse. Like, except that's your dream, which is valid, which in terms of that, you see people being travel nurses. So I would say that's the best use of your bedside experience. But on the upside, travel nurses probably do not have health insurance provided to them by their agency. So there are things to bear in mind, like your 401k, which is like your retirement here, and health insurance, because healthcare is not free here. If you work as a staff nurse, which likely that's what they'll be bringing you in if you're coming with an agency. You have access to like health insurance. Your company pays for your health insurance. Um, but if you're a travel nurse, you have to get like a private health insurance, which is not entirely bad. You make the money, so you should be able to pay for that. But like I
Yeah.
said, it depends on what your goal is, how that fits into your family life, how that fits into your personal life, where you see yourself in terms of career progression, and basically what gives you peace and work-life balance at the end of
Mm.
the day. So yeah, that's pretty much it on working in the US. Like I said, scale up, like focus on your studies, get your credentialing done, prepare and take your NCLEX, study, 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 get the right exposure.
Yeah.
um Also, do not forget where it is that you want to go. Do not forget where you came from as well. Do not forget where you came from as well. That's also very, very important. And I hope to see everyone on this side. We need more people here. We need more
Mhm.
African, Nigerians. We need more Black people in healthcare, doing well, progressing, and most importantly, pray, pray, pray. I know it seems like the gate is like closing up right now, but don't be discouraged. Make sure you do your part and pray. Do your part. Don't only pray. Do your part and pray to God. God will always provide opportunity, and be flexible. If you need to go to the UK first, like I said, I went to the UK first and then now I'm in America. So if you need to go to the UK first, to start working as a nurse, and then from there you can migrate to the US if that's your end goal. You could do that. 100% valid. Do it. And
Thank you very much.
thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Yes, as rightly stated, all questions will be answered at the end of the session. We have one last speaker before the Q&A comes up, because I'm seeing some questions in the chat box already. So we'll be calling up our next speaker that is going to talk to us about nursing pathways to the UK, right? It's no other person than Mrs. Stella Chizobam. She's a nurse manager in the NHS England. Mrs. Stella, are you here with us today?
Oh, yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. No. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
It's good to be here. My name is Stella, popularly known as Stella. My name is also Chiwenzi Chizoban. I am a nurse in the UK. I'm also one of the CEO of EMGS as well too. I don't like to talk about myself too much about stuff, but I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to share my own wealth of experience. I want to appreciate everyone today that have spoken. I want to appreciate Mrs. Peace. I want to appreciate Mr. Chibike. I want to appreciate Mr. Toby and the second speaker. I didn't seem to catch your name as well too. I want to appreciate everyone for sharing your wealth of knowledge with the young generations. I also want to appreciate everyone that was in yesterday as well too. It's amazing to always be in this type of section and always giving back to the community. Now, the honest truth is that almost everybody have spoken about literally everything that you need to do and how you need to get prepared. So I'm not going to repeat so many things, but I'll try and add a little bit of my own words just to contribute to what they have said today. Now, moving to the UK as a nurse, a nursing student, we all know, like every other person have said, that things have been changing. So previously, in the year 2020 to 2022, 2019, 2018, during COVID era, um, we used to have what they calling it, agencies. We used to have companies that come from the UK and come to Nigeria, recruit lots of nurses in bulk and bring them over to the UK. What the nurses, so it started like that. At first, they had to come to Nigeria, take nurses in bulk and bring them to the UK and train them. So they will come and have webinars and everything. And after some time, the rules changed. So once the rule changed, we then had the fact that the nurses in Nigeria and some of these countries that they listed as the red listed countries, we now had these nurses over there needing to do their CBT. CBT is one of the exams that you need to take. It's one of the nursing, international nursing in the UK exam. Then write their OSC, write their IELTS, write their CBT. And once they've passed the IELTS and CBT, and then they've done the application, the UK will then recruit them from Nigeria, for example, from Ghana, wherever you are, and then bring them over to the UK, train them to prepare for their OSC exam, which is a practical nursing exam. So they'll train them for that exam, pay for their training, pay for their accommodation, salary while they are practicing and preparing for that exam. And once they have passed and gotten the license, they then become full registered nurses. So that was the second pathway that happened. And again, the rules changed. So now what we have currently is that nurses have to finish most of this process by themselves in Nigeria before they then are able to get jobs to come over to the UK. And it's very important that you are noticing this trend, because that is to tell you that it's important to make hay while the sun shines. So while you're hearing this information, you need to start getting prepared ahead of time. So what do we have currently? What we have now is nurses having to write their IELTS, having to write their OET, sorry, yes, the IELTS, their OET, having to write their CBT, then come over to the UK on a visit visa to write their OSC, and once they've passed their OSC, start applying for jobs. And then once they've gotten jobs, this company will be able to recruit them. We've done lots of videos in EMGS about how to go about this process, so that will not take so much. I can cover a lot of things. I will not dive too deep into the requirement, the documentations and everything. We've done lots of videos on that. And I believe while we were preparing for this session, you were opportune to join some of our groups where we are going to be sharing this information and how to go about that. EMGS really helps you and guides you through the process step by step, from the visa, OSC, CBT, IELTS, OEC, everything you need. So we guide you through those process, and at the end of the day, help you get that UK nursing license that you need. And whenever you need job as well too, we also help in the job application for you and prepare you for interview, for you to go and scale that interview, right? So this is the process that we have currently in the UK, right? And many recruiters are some people are saying that it's changing as well, because even some people, when they finish getting their pin over getting their full UK nursing pin, it's still hard for them to get jobs. But I want to tell you that in as much as some people say it's hard, people are still getting job every day. Now, it's the question is now, where are you looking for those jobs, right? Which area are you looking for those jobs? Are you just limiting yourself to applying to the NHS, or are you opening up yourself to opportunities? Because the honest truth is, nothing has gone beyond just the NHS, right? You need to expand yourself and give yourself free hands to different opportunities around in the UK. So I'll come back to that aspect, right? Now, for you to get prepared for this whole process, first thing you need, actually, you need to get your nursing degree. Now, everybody that's here currently as a nurse, I believe that's what you are working towards, getting your nursing degree, whether nursing degree or your RN, you just need to get your RN, right? So don't listen to anybody that's telling you school is scam or all of that. School is not scam. School actually gives you that foundation that helps you to go higher when you finally get to that point. You also need to get your Nigerian nursing license. That still comes back to you having to be serious in your school and getting prepared in your education and also your exams and everything. You also need your passport. If you were in yesterday during this section, you will hear when Mr. Charles was saying that you don't need to wait till opportunity hits you before you go ahead and get some important document like your passport. So once you are graduating, or even prior, you can get your passport and keep it, because once you've graduated on an opportunity just comes, you already have things like passport already, and it's not that time that you start hearing that, oh, the passport office is closed, or you have to start getting paying more expensive bills for you to get passport, and you just get disorganized in that situation, right? So you just need to make sure that you have just these little things ahead of time. Another thing is English requirements. I used to encourage people that you need to, if you're writing IELTS or OET, because most of this exam lasts for 2 years, just try and pass at least your CBT first and get your nursing verification first before you go ahead and write this IELTS exam, so that you have enough space and you know that it's just OSC that is left for you to write. And before you, at least within a year, the honest truth is that we've had so many testimonies now, and people, once they have passed their OSC exam, within a year they get jobs to get to the UK. So once you've passed your CBT, write your IELTS, and then you're also writing your OSC after your IELTS, you have enough time because it's 2 years. So within a year, at most a year, 6 months, you would have gotten the job, and then you will not be stuck whereby you will say, oh, my IELTS is expired, I have not gotten a job, and then you'll be tense and all of that. And for your interview during your job, you will not be preparing well because you're already tense due to one of the issues that you're having along the line. Now, police clearance, medical certificates, and all of that, those will be after you've gotten a job and everything. So that's not what you need at the moment. These first few things I have mentioned are the most important things that you need. Now, the question is, what can students be doing now? Everyone has spoken about to take your clinical posting seriously. You need to, anywhere you can get these clinical skills. Mrs. Peace has spoken like the speaker that spoke before me just now, she's spoken a lot about this, and she have said that in Nigeria, when I was back there, you notice that at times they don't let nurses engage in some things like simple things like cannulation, simple things like IV drugs. All these things are important skills that you need to have when you are moving about. And also it's going to help you when you are transitioning. You understand? So once you've gotten your license degree and you've started working as a nurse, that's where the main thing comes in, because I've seen lots of issue whereby nurses in Nigeria, once they have gotten their license, gotten the job, and come to the UK, within 1 month or 2 or 3 or 4 months, you see that they're having issues with NMC, or they're having issues of them losing their jobs, losing their CS, because of some things that could have been avoided if they have actually put their eyes down during their clinical posting and just try to get these skills, and also because of other things like communication and all of that. So that brings me to communication skills. You need to learn how to communicate. I'm someone that don't used to talk before. I'm very like an insider, not shy, but really love to stay at the background. But over time, I've got to learn that speaking out and then learning to communicate in front of people, learning to mingle and learning how to be professional when you are speaking. It's very, very important. And also be confident and know your worth as well too. It's very, very important. Learning basic things like calculation, building confidence in your patient care, and also learning to know how to say, oh, I don't know how to do this. Can you show me how to? For you not knowing how to do something is not a crime, but your ability to ask for help and then and be corrected in case you are making a mistake or you don't know about something, and the ability to want to be taught something is very, very important, right? And once you've learned that thing, you can go ahead from there and not just carrying on to make mistakes whereby you then get into issues because you are like either shy, or you just feel like, oh, if oh, you are scared to make mistakes, no, or you are scared to ask for someone to teach you these little things. So it's very, very important that you note this, and this is a very, very important skill as well too. Wherever possible, try and volunteer if you can. There are so many hospitals. What do you do? I know as a nurse, I think after 200 levels, so you get clinical postings, and maybe you have like 2 weeks break, or maybe a month break. During that period of time, just try and volunteer where you can, just to up your skills, and it's very, very important as well too. It will also give you an idea where you actually want to be. Do you want to be in the bedside? Do you want to be a nurse specialist? Do you want to be an advanced nurse practitioner? Do you want to be in the community? Do you want to be all this like public health nurse that goes from places to places, or do you just want to be a digital nurse, right? So it guides you and help you know which area of nursing do you have interest in, and then you can grow from there as well too. Now, one thing that people struggle with once they have graduated is having funds to sponsor some of these examinations. And honestly, some of these examinations can be costly. And I want to encourage you all, because some of you might not come from a very good background, probably whereby let's say your parents are not financially stable to carry out some of these expenses. What you can do, if you have a goal and you have a vision of what you want to achieve once you have graduated and all of that, during your internship period, during your school days, as much as you can, you need to start saving towards as much as towards this plan that you have in the future. If you have investments, you can invest, but I will just advise for now, because you are still getting there, you just need to start saving as much as you can prior to this time. When I started this, my family background was not very, very strong in terms of like financially, but most of the money I used for my own process were the money I saved during my school days period, and also during my internship. I saved quite a lot, and then I kind of like cut my expenses and tried to push more towards what I wanted to achieve. And now where I'm here, I can be able to get some money and do the lots of investment that I have always wanted to do. So it's always important to note that as well too. Now, some people will say, okay, when do I start this process? Do I start this process while I am see in the while I am a student, or do I start this process when I've graduated or when I'm doing my internship? Because you need your nursing license to start most of this degree, I will advise you that once you're able to get your nursing license, you need to start the process, and then you need to build a good CV as well too. This is very, very important. Now, I've already spoken about um um skills that you need to get, things like good communication skills, teamwork, time management, accountability. Learn how to document. Your paper is your savior. Okay, what in the advanced world, I don't want to call it advanced world, I'll just say out there, one thing that you need to have in terms of nursing, because nursing is a very critical, when I say critical role, whereby if you are not careful, you are just between yourself and the prison, and that's the honest truth. And so you need to back yourself as much as possible. So you need to learn how to document, and documenting what you have done, because if it's not done, if it's not typed, or if it's not written, it's never done. So it's very, very important. Learn how to work under pressure. Learn how to ensure that you have this flair for continuous learning. Don't just get stuck that this is where I am and then that's it. Just like Mrs. Smith was saying earlier, that life is beyond the bedside, unless the bedside is what you want to do. Honestly, that's what you want to do. Beautiful. Because I know people who have been at the bedside for 15 years, and then I asked them why. They said that is just what they love, and they just love to have direct contact with patients, speaking to them and just engaging with them all the time. But that does not mean you should not continuously learn. So when I mean continuously learn, it was not necessarily be leaving the bedside. It could also be improving where you are, like improving services where you are, improving your knowledge in the care or in the specialty that you're working in. So it's very, very important as well too. Critical thinking, and learn how to relate with your other professionals. I know in Nigeria most of the time people get scared of your other professionals, like probably the doctors, the what are they calling it, the physiotherapists. Some student nurses are shy to engage them. When you are out there, you need to speak up. You need to be an advocate for the patient, advocate for yourself, advocate for other colleagues as well. So you'll be in MDT meeting, you having trials, you have um what are they calling it, board meeting with all of these people, especially if you're someone that wants to grow. And there you will see people talking to you, and you need to be confident when you're speaking to consultants, you're speaking to people that have gone really high. So you need to know how to be confident and outspoken, and know how to also speak in terms of like where you've got different team around you. So that's a very critical and important skill that you need to have. Now, UK salary as nurse, well, honestly, UK salary is not as high as some countries like Canada, the USA, and Australia, but depends on which area you are, also determines how much you can earn. So if you're someone that loves to stay in the NHS and in the banding situation, because NHS, the entry level for an NHS is band 5, right? And their current pay, it's about I just checked it now. The current pay for a band 5 is about £37,000. So I think that's the highest band, 5 pay or so. And then the entry pay is about £31,000 annually, right? And so the highest pay is about £37,000. That's for those that have been a band 5 for like 5 years and above. And then for band 6 is about 45,000 and above. For band 7 is about 49,000 above, 50,000. 7 is about 70,000 and 80,000 pounds and above annually. But for those that wants to grow rather than just getting stuck at just the banding system, you want to go into being advanced clinical practitioners, you want to go into medical devising, you want to go into like aesthetic nursing. These are areas and in the UK currently that is actually booming, and people make lots money, and are not just stuck in the normal banding system. Also, people that go into care, because that's one sector people do not talk about, the care sector, that's helping people in their home and helping people in the community as well. So they end up being nurse managers, being business managers for these hospitals or this care home, and they earn so much more than just being stuck in just the bedside or just the band 5 role. So there are different opportunities out there for you, depends on where you want to be. And if you come to the UK and say, okay, I've had enough experience in the UK, I want to move to Canada, I want to move to USA, I want to move to Australia, the road is so open for you. The opportunities are endless. There are people that are recruiting into Australia almost every time. There are people that are recruiting into Canada all the time. And we know right now that the US is a little bit, it's not as straightforward as it used to be before. But Australia is well open, and Australia is actually very, very good in terms of their pay as well too. And for what I've heard in terms of life balance too. So this is also very, very important. Now, um next question is what can young nurses do differently? Well, like we've just said, don't just wait till NYSC is over. Everybody has talked about building your LinkedIn platform and your LinkedIn page, building a professional CV as early as possible, learning leadership skill, which is very, very important. Don't just get information from social media or just like getting misinformation. There are organizations like EMGS that have this step-by-step process and are ready to guide you. Join this sort of organizations and learn, you understand, and stay there. Don't just use your phone and just leave it like that. Watch videos that EMGS have put out there, and also learn from other people that do similar things, right? It's very, very important as well too. Now, seek mentors. In this part of seek mentors, I want you to just not be an insider, right? You've got senior colleagues that have probably done this out there. Don't just say, okay, this senior colleague, of mine, I will just like those ones now that are in 100 level. You have a senior colleague that is in 500 level or senior colleague that is in 400 level. Try and mingle with those people and learn from their wealth of experience. Someone now that is in 400 level and 500 level, try and mingle with those that have gone ahead of you and those that you are seeing that this is what they are doing and you want to be where they are. Try and mingle with them, try and learn from them, try and be loyal and learn from them as well too. It's very, very important because you see people when they have started this whole process and then they are struggling to get one or two things or struggling to get job, and they have this colleague of them that is in a particular organization or a particular hospital or particular NHS that is this person that is in charge of putting out jobs out there, and the opportunity is there. That person is actually looking for, "Oh, who can we recruit?" But this person is over there. The person is just refusing not to connect to their mentor. So you understand, and it's there makes that other person lose that opportunity. Whereby, if you've actually continued that relationship with your mentor or relationship with one of your senior colleague or two of your senior colleagues, it would have favored you more. So try to ensure that you build a lasting relationship with people that have gone ahead of you. Be financially disciplined as well too. The honest truth is that it's not always about how much you earn. Okay, it's what you use that money to do at the end of the day. Mr. Hayes have spoken a lot about this yesterday, right? So whether you are in USA, whether you are in Australia, whether you're in Canada, whether you are in the UK, the honest truth is that regardless of how much you earn, right? That's why you see some footballers after they've made so much money, right? At the end of the day, they just like once they've left their footballing career and everything, check them out in the next 10 years. They might not be as wealthy as they were before. They might just be average or even lower than an average, right? So the important thing you need to know today is that it's not about how much you earn, right? Is what you're able to make do with that money. All right. But and one thing I also want to tell people that if you know that at the end of the day it's business that you want to do, try and see how you can learn skills that will push you towards that area that you want to go. If you know that it's career you want to do, try and learn things that will push you towards that area that you want to go. And if you know that it is career that you want to do, you do not have flair for any business or for any other thing, make sure that you try and push yourself to get to the apex of that career, right? And then when you get to that apex of that career on your journey and everything, make sure that whatever money you earn from it, you are using it and investing it wisely for your future. Okay. So it's very important about that. Now, someone will ask me, is relocating worth it? Well, to me, it's worth it because with relocation, I've been able to support myself, support my family, and um be better than where I was before, right? And honestly, if someone bring me to Nigeria, I can never practice nursing in Nigeria because to me it's so archaic, right? And it's so backwards. So I can never practice nursing in Nigeria. And being abroad has actually opened my eyes to lots of things, lots of opportunities. And yesterday, Mr. Hayes was talking about reading books as well too. And most of the books that I have read, with living abroad has also opened my eyes to see how I can practicalize and understand it much more better and grow myself both personally and career wise and both business wise as well too. So it's very, very important for you to make your own decision today. Like I said, I'm not here to encourage everybody to move abroad. It has helped me, and I believe if you try it, it might help you too as well too. Especially there are people that it's just them in their family that the family needs to break through from where they are. And if you know that it is you that is that person, you might as well volunteer yourself and just push and get your family uplifted. But if you know that moving abroad is not your thing and there are so many other opportunities in Nigeria, make sure while you are in school, you don't just leave yourself just there and being at the background. Honestly, the world does not pay those that hide at the background. And that's the honest truth. So if you don't live with anything today, I'm talking to those especially that stay at the background. The world does not pay those that stay at the background. It's time for you to come out, engage with your senior colleagues, engage with volunteering organization, engage with where you want to be, where you are currently, and ask yourself, where do I want to be when I graduate? And start engaging them and engaging those activities while you are still in school. So I think that's all I have for now. If there's any question, I can probably take it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Stella. Thank you so much. We appreciate the time. If there's one thing that all the speakers have rightfully mentioned from yesterday, it's about putting yourself out there and not just limiting yourself to the fact that, oh, I'm a student, so I'll just wait. till I'm done. I'll wait till I graduate before I start making a move on the kind of life, on the kind of career, or the kind of person that I want to be. So the time is now, decision is now, action is now as well. So moving forward, we'll be taking questions. I have some on WhatsApp already. We have some in the chat. And of course, we'll be giving opportunity to those that want to ask their question, like talk and ask their question. All you have to do, don't mute your mic. All you have to do is raise your hand. If you tap on your screen, you see some options at the bottom part of your screen. Mute, start video, chat, more, or leave. Tap on more, you see the option where you would raise your hand. So I'll be looking through, although I've seen one person already, I'll be looking through and you get to ask your question. So don't let me take some of the questions from WhatsApp, and I take from the chat, and I'll call on one person to speak. So first and foremost, this question is for our very, very first speaker, Mr. Oluwatobi. So this question is for you. Somebody is saying, you mentioned that the process becomes more competitive every year. As a student who still has 1 or 2 years before graduation, what specific steps should I start taking now to give myself a competitive advantage over other applicants? I don't know if you got the question.
Yeah, I think I got the question.
Mm.
Like I said earlier on there, I said the market is being saturated, policy is getting stiffer, is getting tighter than what it used to be. So if you are, like I said in the presentation, I said if you are already in your 4th year or your 5th year by now, I said the posting you are doing, all these final year posting, part 4 posting, be using that to gather your clinical experience. Be writing out your logbook. Write it, like I said, when I was in school, even some of my colleagues, they already got their HCPC when they were in part 4 or part 5, while we were still waiting till after service, after many years of graduating from school. So just keep gathering your your clinical experience and polish it, because definitely before you can even apply for the license, you need some documents like your transcript, like your certificate. That was then that you can apply without most of this. But like I said today, things are getting tighter. So you
Yeah.
need all those things before you can apply. So the only thing is just keep doing your building your clinical experience, documenting to standard level, and also be diversifying. Don't just keep on one session, be diversifying. Physiotherapy in tech, how you can bring in innovation. Just be thinking of innovation. So once you are done, in fact, you will be an hot cake for many countries because of your experience. We have some people that they can build websites, some people they can build app, some people they are business in this physio, not just the app. So that's what I would say. Keep building yourself. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Question is to Dr. Chibuke. Dr. Chibuke. So,
Yes.
yes, what are the most common mistakes, right, you see Nigerian doctors make when preparing for international medical practice, and how can I avoid these mistakes? Dr. Chibuke, did you get that?
So can you repeat it again?
Yes, the person is asking like, what are the common mistakes you see doctors planning to planning preparing for international medical practice? What are the mistakes that they make, and how can I avoid those mistakes?
Okay. I think The
Sorry.
mistake that doctors make, why most doctors or most students make for international medical practice is not doing things when their colleagues are doing it. Um, and I'm going to use an example to explain this. At the time when I finished medical school, um, a whole group of us started preparing then to leave Nigeria. And I had some of my colleagues then that felt like one who was my flatmate, he felt like he did not want to travel out because he felt like he was not brilliant enough. He felt like he did not have the knowledge and the skills to perform outside. And I had a couple of friends also who had written receipts at every aspect during the medical school. They just joined us to do what we're doing at that time. And years down the line, those that did what others were doing at that time are already outside the country. And those that did not do what others were doing at that time are now trying to start the process at this time. And it's difficult. It's now difficult to get a job. It's now difficult to get into training. It's now difficult to leave the country. Those that were thinking about USMLE before and did not write the exam when immediately they came into the UK, now Trump has tightened the rules. It's now difficult to leave. Those that wanted to come to the UK or they were in the UK and wanted to enter into training, but were postponing it, it's now difficult to get into training. That's to become a consultant via the training pathway because the rules is now tighter. So one mistake that most people make is, oh, I'll do it when I pass or when I get to housemanship. Oh, I will do it when I pass NYC. Oh, I will do it um when I get 2 million naira in my account. You don't need to wait until you get everything. You just need to start the steps. You just need to follow your colleagues to do what they are doing, if that is your pathway. Because the more you wait, the more you procrastinate, the more you become tired. If you want to go to the USA and you don't start the process on time and you end up
Yeah.
coming to the UK, you'll become tired to finish it. So that's one of the mistakes they make. The second one that had just come to my mind is that if you want to leave the country and you have it at the back of your mind to leave the country and you decide to become a chronic MO, that's a chronic medical officer, you are not helping yourself. Yes, in terms of chronic medical officer, you will have time to prepare for the exams. But to get into this specialty training when you leave the country will be difficult. Now, those that are finding it to leave the country are those who are registrars, senior registrars, or consultants. So if you have it at the back of your mind that you want to leave the country and you are building up like to where you want to go to, but you are not there yet and you want to become a chronic medical officer, please, my brother, my sister, don't do that. Just go into residency training, even if it's family medicine, just be doing that one and be building yourself till you get to where you want to go to.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you for that. So I hope you've heard the common mistakes that people make and how you can avoid them. So I'm going to take someone that's been raising her hand. I hope I got it correct this time with the gender. Sorry, I'm trying to view your name. Ologe. You can unmute yourself and ask your question while I go through the chat on Zoom and read out the question when you're done.
Okay, good evening, Ma. Thank you.
Good
I
evening.
think I know my network was logging me out
Yeah.
on different occasions. So
You
I
can
want
just
to ask,
introduce yourself and your school.
okay, no, I just graduated, but I
Oh,
studied
lovely.
biochemistry. So I want to ask now the study route for biochemistry. Like, how can you, what are the things you need to do, especially now that one has graduated? What are the steps one can take or the things one can do to, get a scholarship outside the country? and
Okay.
which of the countries value the course I studied, which is biochemistry. Thank you.
You're welcome. Were you in yesterday's live?
Um, Not really too. My network hasn't been stable since yesterday, but I was trying
Uh,
to be present at all time, but
okay.
the
Because yesterday we talked about mostly about study abroad and the different routes. There's already a recorded session for that. And I
no,
think if
I'm
are
asking
you
for my course, like
I
just as
understand.
they'll be talking about medicine and the other
I
courses since
understand.
I've
Yeah,
started.
I understand. We stated yesterday that there's for some courses, there's a direct or straightforward path. Why for some, they would have to go through um study route before they can be grounded in the course they studied, right? For any of the speakers listening that would like to take this question.
Okay, and good evening. Good evening. So, yes, in terms of biochemistry, right? The opportunities out there, but most of the time, because there is not a direct licensing, you might need to have to go through the study route, okay, for you to be able to access what you've got already, right? And most of all these other professionals, let's say, as many it was like MLS, and laboratory MLS, yeah, medical laboratory sciences, I believe so, yeah. There's already a direct licensing, right? But for courses whereby there are no direct licensing, the best way to try, like the fastest way many people use is by trying to go through the study by getting like maybe master's degree, or if they've got funds, maybe bachelor's degree, but I'll prefer you go for a master's degree. Once you're able to get that, then within the period whereby you have like post study era, you can then start volunteering within your field or working at the lowest level, or maybe a medium level and entry level, in order to get the skills or experience within that country. Because most of this country, they tend to prefer people that have got experience within their own country. And even though you've got experience like in Nigeria, for example, they can combine this experience though. But even if it's 1 year experience you've got in their country and years of experience as a biochemist over there in Nigeria, it also gives you an edge. And then also another thing you can also do, if you were here with our speaker that came through engineering, is about getting some certifications that will favor people within your area, for going through Coursera and other learning platforms to get some certain certifications. And some of these certifications are actually free. So using all of that is going to boost your portfolio. Now, another thing again that they also spoke about yesterday is about getting linking, like having your LinkedIn profile and boosting the page in order that it has lots of things that you've had. And also looking at those, which is one of the things I mentioned earlier today, looking at those that have probably done what or passed through the area you are in currently, and looking at their prospects in and where they are working and all of that, and follow that pathway closely in order to achieve it. Now, lastly, YouTube. YouTube is your best friend. There are so many YouTube videos on which people that say as biochemists. And one thing about abroad, and as about abroad life, as someone that is a biochemist, is that your skill is needed in almost all the sector. So it's not as if your skill is actually needed. The only thing that is there is a hindrance between you and actually the skill that you and the job that you need, right? If it's abroad that you want to get this job, number one is getting their own experience, and number two, finding a way to get into that country. So if you can able to sort those two biggest challenges, you should be good to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, ma. Ologe, did that answer your question? Is that clear enough? If you still want
Yes,
more,
ma.
you can listen to yesterday's recording, and I'm sure that you gain more clarity on that. And this,
All right. Thank you, ma.
Welcome. And this same answer suffices for the person in the comment section asking for human physiology. That question was asked yesterday and it was answered as well. Same in the same regard to the biochemistry line. So I'm going to another question in the chat. Someone said,
Sorry,
after,
Daisy. Sorry,
okay,
Daisy.
sir.
Before you move any further, just to quickly add to the question she just asked, I
Okay.
also understand very well that there are a lot of persons that may not necessarily be in the line of what has been discussed so far today. Yesterday was quite robust, and some person may have missed the session. It's actually recorded on YouTube. So all you just need to do at your convenience, try and watch yesterday's session. So when you combine it with today's session, trust me, you will have an edge over your colleague, even back home in school. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, sir. Thank you so much. So moving to the next question. After studying or working in the UK, if I want to move to the US, will I still need to take the IELTS as one of the requirements? Mr. Akile Latif, are you asking as a nurse, or what profession are you asking for, or just are you just asking generally? Just to be clear. But I also noticed that you asked this question when um our speaker was Mrs. Peace was speaking, if I'm correct. So, Mrs. Peace, can you take this question for us? Someone is asking, after studying or working in the UK, right? If I want to move to the US, will I still need to take IELTS as one of the requirements? She's still here?
Hey, yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I believe that's one of the requirements you need as well. But like I said, it depends on the state. It depends on the state you're trying to go for.
Okay.
Like for me, myself, I didn't have to submit an English test to get license. So it
Oh,
all boils down to the state you're going for. Like I did New York, I didn't have to do that.
to do any of that. That's interesting.
Mm-mm.
S- okay. So while you're at it, someone is also asking, right? I have two questions actually, still
Mm-hmm.
directed at you. Someone asks about, is there hope for someone with only registered midwife qualification, or should I sit for JAM and gain RON or BSc qualification? So can the person relocate? Can they get documentarily qualified through CGFNS as, as a midwife? Or you have to have RON?
I I don't have any. I don't. To be fair, like from what I understand, um,
Mhm.
the verification body is trying to interpret. Sorry, it's my baby's. Sorry. From what I understand, the verification body is trying to interpret your credentials to the entry level nurse here is a BSN nurse or an associate degree nurse, right? But with an
Yeah.
RM, I'll believe that's tailored more to midwifery. So you
Yeah.
might not have like experience pediatrics, mental health, which an entry level nurse here should have an all round um like learning for all
Yeah.
aspects, right? So
Yeah.
I can't say for sure. I would believe you need to get a BSN first.
Okay.
Or um like I said, if you go to the UK, I know some people come with like you could get like a 1 year BSN or something. Try to do like 1 year
Yeah.
BSN.
Okay.
So if the UK does accept an RM, you can use that to get into the UK and try to get a BSN from there and see how that translates for the US pathway. But my
Okay.
understanding is um you need to have experience in all aspects.
Okay. So someone else is also asking, can you throw more light on H1B or H1B cap exempt visa, and does the ban affect it?
Oh, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about the H1B
Okay.
route. I'm not too sure about the H1B route.
All right. So the next question. This person that just asked, is it easy for an undergraduate? Can you explain better can you type that better so that we can understand what you're referring to? Why I asked the next question. Um this is for Mr. Ibidayo. Says beyond academic excellence, what is one quality or habit you have consistently observed in physiotherapists who are successful? Who successfully secure international opportunities?
Right. Wow, that's a wonderful question. Can you hear me?
Not really. It sounds very faint. I don't know if it's just me.
Better now.
Yes, better now.
Okay, yeah, I removed my hairpiece.
Okay.
Um, beyond academic excellence, what is the sorry, please, can I get the meat of the question? I believe, yeah, there is a lot to unpack from that question.
Yes, actually, it's like a very packed question. So the person is saying that beyond academic excellence, what quality or habits have you seen over time in physiotherapists who have successfully secured international opportunities? It's a lot of English, but the person is trying to say, what is one common people that have actually gone international, maybe working on that country? What's one thing that they've done that you've seen consistently that made them reach that point?
Yeah, so I need to clarify from the person who asked that question whether they mean in terms of getting job abroad or in terms of what diaspora physiotherapist is achieving in the UK,
In
because
terms
then
of
that
getting job
changes the
abroad.
dynamics of
Okay.
the question.
I think the person is
In terms
referring
of
to in terms
getting
of
job
getting,
offer,
yes, but you can speak on both.
yeah, okay. So in terms of getting job offer, I would just say um, currently there is at the moment there is a lot of people talking into what needs to be done, how people can easily scale through things, which a lot of people opportunity that a lot of people did not have when we started, when some of us started. So I would say be in the right environment, increase your value, find a mentor, especially when you have your choice country. Find a mentor and don't be discouraged if they don't answer you on time. Life is not easy abroad. People do long shifts and long hours, and unlike Nigeria, people are not allowed to use their technologies when they are working. So that is one, be resilient. I will tell you a story. When I was preparing for interviews, there were times I will just finish from work, do my school run. Immediately I get home, I leave my wife and my daughter in the living room watching DSTV, and I'll be in the room preparing. So this is something I did consistent, and I can tell you that it paid off. Another thing that worked for us, there is a general saying that, oh, most of you guys in Abakaliki, because I was working in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State then, oh, most of you guys have moved. What worked for us was the unity in diversity. We spoke to ourselves, we shared knowledge, we shared experience.
Yeah.
Unlike some other, it's not like trying to, belittle or trying to talk bad of some other, but some other people, you will see your mate, your colleague already about to get a license, HCPC license, and they will be holding the information from you. It's typical for Nigerians, but if you try to find a mentor, I think that will put you in the right position. Um, that is one thing. Just find a mentor, try and position yourself in the right environment. Another thing, to answer it in another way, for people that are already here, what they are doing again is find your tribe. People that can help you, settle down seamlessly. People that can support you to just settle down and feel like you've been here before. That is very important. And then with that, try and be inquisitive in a nice way. Look for areas where problem is, where you can do like, people look at such areas where they can do like service improvement. I had a 1 year senior of mine in the uni who came here. He went into mental health, and apparently in his trust, they've not done anything around the cause of fall, looking at postural hypotension, or what we call orthostatic hypotension, the impact on elderly people, how it can lead to serious risk of falling. So he did that, and he got an award. And what the next thing we were seeing is he was being celebrated all over his trust. For me, for example, because of the work we do in supporting people to move over, we got nominated to his Charter Society of Physiotherapy in 2024 October. We got nominated by people we did not even know. We were just doing our bits, and then suddenly
Amazing.
we received email highly commended for CSV. So this puts you at the front light, and this just being consistent, just doing something, not like the lady from the US said. I can't remember where is she now. She said, the nurse from the US. She said, don't just feel satisfied where you are. Try to push yourself a little bit further to keep the
Yeah.
motivation going. So yeah, I hope I have addressed that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. We still have a lot of questions. My mind, we still have questions. Um, so this is for Dr. Chibuike. 2 questions. Somebody said, so one of the questions is on Australia, and the other one is on study pathway in the UK. So let me ask the Australian one first. Somebody said you mentioned Australia is a better pathway than the UK. Can you talk more on it, the exam involved, and possibly the cost of it?
Okay, so for the Australian pathway, the reason why I say it's better than the UK is because, one, in terms of getting jobs, it's easier to get a job in Australia as opposed to the UK right now, because the UK market is a bit tight. That's one. Then secondly, in terms of like the salary, you earn better in Australia as opposed to the UK, as a doctor, and it even becomes more when you become a consultant. And then work-life balance. Work-life balance is better in Australia as opposed to the UK, where they are using you to fill rota. So these are the 3 reasons why I say Australia looks like a better pathway as opposed to the UK. Now, in terms of the cost of the exams, the Australian exams is more expensive as opposed to the UK exams. So for the UK, you need to do an IELTS or OET, PLAB 1 and PLAB 2. I know PLAB 2 cost about £1,000 or so, and PLAB 1 is about 200 or close to £300. Then you look at the plane ticket coming to the UK and going back for your PLAB 2. And I don't know how much IELTS costs now in Nigeria. For the Australian pathway, there are a couple of ways in which you can get into the Australian pathway as a medical doctor. But the main one most people do is you need to get your medical degree first, you need to complete your medical degree. It's not like the US where you can start as a medical student. For the UK and Australia, you
Yeah.
need to have completed and you'll have become a medical doctor. Then you go to what we call EPIC to verify your medical qualifications. And you use the EPIC for UK and Australia. For USA, you use ECFMG. Now, the total cost for the Australian pathway, you need to be looking at about 9,000 Australian to about 10,000 Australian dollars. And I think $1 is about somewhere around, it's close to the Canadian dollar. So I'll say about a
Yeah.
thousand naira or so. So you need to create an initial portfolio, and the portfolio will cost you about 642 Australian dollars. Then for the EPIC verification, it costs you about 200 Australian dollars. Then you write the English test. And that's, I don't know how much it costs in Nigeria now, but I know that the English test is usually more expensive in the UK. Then you write the Australian MCQ exam, and that the MCQ exam is about 2,920 Australian dollars. And then after you write that, then you write the clinical exam, and that one is about $3,000. Now, some people, after passing the first one, they can waive the second exam and try and apply for jobs in Australia. So after passing AMC1, that is the clinical examination, they can now start applying for jobs to get what they call work-based assessment. Basically, what it is like you are applying for an internship program. So you work under supervision for 12 months before you get a job. Now, as to how easy it is to get that one, I can't say for certain. But some people go a further step to just write the second exam, which I just said costs $3,000, 3,000 Australian dollars to bypass that, and then they start applying for jobs. Now, to get into the Australian training pathway is easier as opposed to the UK for now. And it's even easier if you want to go into specialties. You don't need to stick as a family physician or an internal medicine. If surgery is your goal, it's a bit easier over there as opposed to here. But the other thing is Australia is on the other end of the world. If you are planning to go to Australia, some people say it takes you 2 days and they are tired of taking long flights. But you just have to weigh what you want. There are a couple of doctors who've come to the UK and moved to the Australia afterwards. I have a colleague when I worked as an emergency medicine doctor in the UK. We worked together. By the time I was moving into family medicine training, he left and moved to Australia to work as an emergency medicine doctor, and he's enjoying his life here. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I hope that answers the question truly. Thank you. I think that was very exhaustive, right? And the person should have been taking note because I would have been taking note. Person should have been taking note. Deborah Bako, I still don't get your question. It's easy for an undergraduate. An undergraduate who wants to study, it's easy. Are you making a statement or you're asking a question? And what are you asking if it's easy? Are you asking, is studying abroad easy for an undergraduate? Meaning maybe you want to go to, for example, the UK to study as an undergraduate, maybe get another BSc. Is it easy? Is that what you're asking? And someone is asking, which school in Nigeria is better to study nursing? That's a very, very tricky question. Which school in Nigeria? My dearly beloved speakers that are nurses, what school in Nigeria is better to study nursing? Anybody?
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
I don't think there's any school that is one school is better than the other. Just make sure the school is accredited And when
Very
you need to
important.
ask for your transcripts, they can provide your
They can
transcript.
provide it for you.
That's what I would say. Make sure the school is accredited. Make sure it's not a school that. Make sure that, yeah. Make sure their accreditation is confirmed. Not a school that you be in 300 level, they'll lose accreditation like
Yeah.
three blood pressure. So make sure the school is accredited, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And they're recognized, not any Bible school.
And I think one question that most people try to always ask. I mean, if I could get a dollar for every time I get asked this question. So people ask, should I go to School of Nursing and just be study and be an arrowhead, or I should go to university and study BSc? Do you have any advice for anybody? Mrs. Peace or Mrs. Stella? Anyone?
Sorry, can you ask that
Before,
question again?
yes, I said most people ask this question of should I go to excuse me, excuse me, should I go to the university and study nursing and become and get a bachelor's degree, or should I just go to a school of nursing and get the registered nursing certificate?
Okay. All right. So I'll say it depends on the person, right? But what's the point of having to go through RN, and then why not just going straight to get the BSc? Because RN now is it not 4 years, I believe.
It's 4 years old. It's not 4 years.
So what's not the point when BSc is 5 years? There's
And in
literally,
BSc, you get other
yes, you get
certificates
other things,
inside.
and at the end of the day, at times some BScs gives you opportunity to at times some people get RN, they get RM and they get BSc, and then they can either, if they want to move abroad, they can move with either the RM, or you move with
Yeah.
the RN if you are going to the UK, right? And then when you come over to the UK, you can decide to grow yourself, because not everybody wants to live in the UK and go to other countries, right? And for different reasons, okay?
Yeah.
And then for those that want to move to other countries as well too, you can decide to go to other countries and pursue other stuff. It also gives you, and because once you come over now, if there's opportunity for you to get a master's, and because some trust in the UK sponsors you to do your master's, you might as well do your master's and be like an advanced nurse practitioner, not just like a nurse. So you like way, way, way higher, right? So it depends. I don't see the point of having to do a 4 year when you can easily get a higher stuff as a band, sorry, a higher stuff as a BSc, and then move faster. So honestly, just do your BSc, and RN sef is even very expensive from what I've even heard. Some
Yes.
people really charge a lot for them to get that
They
RN.
pay a
Why
lot.
BSN I believe is even way, and I will not say it's cheaper, but it's
It
way
depends on
cheaper.
the school, actually.
Okay, it depends on the school, yeah. But some
Yes.
schools still like lets you get it way cheaper than RN. I believe Uniben is even cheaper than UBT.
Yes. It is actually.
So yeah, so honestly, I don't see the point of going to get
Yeah.
iron.
And recently some schools have done it in a way that even with your BSc, you now get public health added.
Yeah, so some people
It's
even
like
do
a
that as
yeah.
well. So,
So it's like a full package in one.
so what's then the point of going to get iron? That's what I just think anyway. But unless the person have a personal reason why they want to go with iron first, then that's
Yes.
fine. But if not, I don't see the point. Yeah.
Okay, while on that question, someone just asked something relating to that.
Sorry. Oh.
Okay, thank you. You can. I presume you want to add.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Miss Stella
Okay.
also said. And also I believe the the exposure you get from going to a typical college, like a university, is different from, I haven't been to school of nursing though, but I believe that extra exposure you get from actually going to school for your bachelor is way different from, I believe, what you get when you just go do your RN, right? It's
Yes.
not like everybody's not just there as nursing students. You're getting to mix up with um med lab, biochemistry. All we even take I even took political science courses, because
Yes.
besides just knowing nursing, and that's something that you need to bear in mind. Besides knowing nursing, you need to be an all-rounded human being. You need to be able to have conversations outside of nursing as
Interdisciplinary collaboration.
exactly. You need to be able to relate with, like Miss Stella said earlier, you need to be able to relate with doctors as well. You're gonna have to speak with these people in the hospital. Schooling with them also gives you an edge as well. These are people that you guys took 1 or 2 courses together. People in you also learn finances, as I think we took a few maybe financial courses, GST courses like that.
Economics.
So those
Yeah.
things also help you be a well-rounded professional as well. So I mean that's what I would recommend.
So, in relation to that question, somebody is asking if I'm writing my final, my ROM final. Oh, rather, I am writing my ROM final exam. That's registered midwife exam. Do you think it's wise to get an ROM for 2 years, 6 months, or I should write JAM next year and start afresh?
I don't understand. You are getting your RM license as in
Yes, like she's about to write her ROM,
yes,
registered midwife,
to get
right?
a registered midwife license.
Yes. So I'm sure she's in the school of midwifery. So
Okay.
she is asking, do you think it's wise to get RON, that's registered nursing license, for 2 years and 6 months? Or should I write JAM next year and start afresh, meaning going to the university?
So the question is, why did she go for an RM? It's not because she loved midwifery and she wants to be a midwife rather than going for an RN. So if that's the case, I will advise you, if you want to try, if travel abroad is your goal, because everybody have their goal and their desire. So I'll
Mhm.
advise you to use that RM and move to the UK as an RM nurse, as an RM, so as a midwife. Okay, so use it to do your processing and get job as a midwife, because that's a huge growing area recently
Yeah.
in the UK. It's really like it's not expanded as much as adult nursing. So RM is
Yes.
really still somewhere that is very, very fresh, and lots of immigrants have not actually saturated that area at all. And it also gives you an edge when you want to move to any other place if you want to. And again, if you want to get a BSN or something at the end of the day, you can easily just do top up courses and then just get that and use it to move ahead in
Mhm.
any area or in any country that you want to do. And there are so many opportunities for midwife, honestly, outside there, especially outside abroad. It's just endless, honestly. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I'm afraid we have come to the end of this particular event today, or rather this 2 day session. I mean, it's been very enlightening, especially today's session. Yesterday was even amazing, talking about employability. And I think one of the thing that has resonated, or most of the speakers have been talking about, is going the extra mile, ensuring that you are not just wasting your time as a student, or your by wasting, right? It's more like you are not just a one liner, go to class, go back to the hostel, and you're done. Involve yourself, volunteer in places, put yourself out there, learn something new, be at the top of your career in terms of gaining new information every time, and just ensuring that you apply yourself with every opportunity or every chance you get. Those are the things that give you experiences. Those are the things that make you stand out. And if you're having difficulty trying to figure out any of these things, in terms of, for those that have the goal of studying abroad, we have various live sessions. We can even speak to an agent directly through the customer care service and just get clarity on what to actually do, or what route will be most suited to you as a person, right? You can follow us on our social media pages. This is special. Before I go into that, I want to say a special thank you to all of the speakers. Some of them from some speakers from day one are not here now, but thank you so much for dedicating your time, for sharing your experience, and ensuring that people have the information that you didn't have when it was your time. Very, very grateful for that. And thank you, Unizik and Lead City University. Thank you, MGS, for bringing this program together. And I'm sure we at EMGS look forward to organizing this event for other departments, not just nursing, not just physiotherapy and doctors, other departments as well, so that young individuals can just gain clarity and start pushing to be better in life. So you can follow us on all our social media pages to keep updated on our services, on our webinars, on our live sessions, and generally information that help you stand out and be a better professional. So I guess here we'll call it a night. You can take advantage of the links that have been shared, and you can also go watch this, rewatch all of this on YouTube, right? You can, if your network was disturbing, you could not follow, no panic. You can go on YouTube at Express Med Global Services. I'm sharing the link shortly so that you don't have to. If you are on that group, I'm sure you already have the link if you're on the WhatsApp group. But I'm going to share it here. I believe that there's no person that is here that is not on the WhatsApp group, because from there that you actually get here. So I'm just going to share a link so that you can access the page. Okay. So I've dropped the link in the comment. You can just use that to find our YouTube page and every other of our services. You can also check out our website where we have a blog where you get to read information as regards traveling abroad, as regards preparing for your exams, international exams, as regards preparing your CV, and just everything all around a global career in general. So I've dropped that in the comment as well. All right. Thank you all for joining. For our listeners. I mean, this would not have been possible without you deciding to give your time as well. For those that have stayed from beginning to end, like Livinus Chukwuebuka, thank you very, very much. And other staff of EMGS that joined this live, thank you for joining. We appreciate you specially and would say good night. Have a lovely night rest. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on what time zone you are in. Have a lovely night rest. Goodbye.